I have no idea where that is, what that is.
All right, if everyone will please stand, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance.
I've never seen it, Carol.
I pledge
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Morgan Township meeting, September 27th, 2021 at 7 p.m. Have a roll call, please.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Brooker?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
All right. Do you have the minutes and all that? Yes.
Yep, got him.
All right. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the Morgan Township Board of Trustee minutes dated September 13th, 2021 as written.
Second?
Mr. Brooker?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to approve the warrants.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the payment listing from 9/11/2021 through 9/27/2021. There's going to be some voids. There's some computer issues that Tina had to work through that every 7 minutes it would drop off and she'd have to start all over. So she has quite a few voids. But it's payment number 672-2021 through 704-2021 and warrant number 10896 through 10900, 10901, 10902, 10903, 10904, 10905 are all voided, and then 10906 through 10914. 10915 is voided, then 10916 through 10924, 10925 is voided, and 10926 for a total of $57,215.26.
Second?
Mr. Brooker?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Motion approved.
All right. So at this time, wanted to do a little saying about Mrs. Thacker that has been with us for 17 years. Is that correct?
17 in January.
A lot of time she's spent here. She's done the minutes for the meetings here. She's done the minutes for the zoning and the zoning appeal. She's also done a lot of time where she helped us at the open houses. She helped us at the bicentennial. So on behalf of the Morgan Township, we're very proud to have had you. We're going to miss you. And Jeff is getting you a little something just to say thank you. And we also, when we're done here, we have a few snacks and ordeals that we'll take a small time out.
Ordeals?
And everyone can thank her, and then we will go back to the meeting here in probably about 20 minutes or so.
Okay.
So we want to thank you very much,
Thank you.
Thank you, Carol.
and you will be missed.
May I say something?
You are more than welcome to say something.
Speak up so the note taker can get the minutes.
Gee, I didn't know that. I just wanted to say that in '05, when Ed asked me if I could come on board and help him with the meetings, because he said he couldn't take the minutes and conduct the meeting at the same time, it's too hard. So okay, sure. And then it was fun. I liked the people. It was good work. And then Charlotte retired, and I just sort of slid into that position to help Joe. And then here we are years later, and it's like, it's time for me to go. But it's been fun. It's good people. Working with the township, I felt like I was a part of the team, you know, working together. So, and thank you for that.
So let me ask you, how much have you seen Morgan Township change in 17 years?
You know, that's the scary part, because when Spooky Nook hit the paper the last time, and we were talking about it, what's going to happen out here? I've told the zoning people, it's going to get so difficult. You guys are going to have a tough time. And it's just a lot of change. Well, when I first moved out here, none of those houses were on Chapel, you know, all the new ones. And all I saw were school buses, pickup trucks, and tractors. There was nothing else going around the road.
And cornfields.
Well, yeah, but the traffic wasn't like it is now. My brother calls it a racetrack now, 'cause they paved it, and my son Jim, my grandson Aiden, because of Aiden, I was able to retire from my first job where I supported the family. Thank God for Aiden. And my brother Steve that lives in Okeana. So, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'll make a motion to adjourn, and then we have cupcakes, cookies, some meatballs. We will get drinks out. Everyone wants to say a few words to Carol and thank her for all the time she's been here. It's just a little something we could do. So
I'll second that.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Okay, so if you want to let Carol lead the way, she can go first. We will get this out and ready. To my knowledge.
Action.
Okay.
No, I know about it. McDonald's.
Okay, I'll make a motion to return back to the meeting.
Second?
Mr. Updike?
Yes?
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Cole? Yes. Motion approved.
All righty. At this time, Ms. Connie Reinhardt, we will get that.
Okay. All right. I'm here tonight to go over the audit report for the 19 and 20 year audits. And I emailed to all the trustees the information that was emailed to me from the last auditor that I finally ended up working with. And the one thing that she wanted me to stress is that the audit is a reflection of the duties of all the elected officials, not just the fiscal officer. So it's not just me that the audit is reporting on, it's all of us, all the elected officials. Number one, public records training. All elected officials are required to take 3 hours of this training during each term of office. Proof of attendance needs to be given to the fiscal officer for the employee file. This is required by the ORC. Failure to do so by one elected official resulted in a non-compliance finding for the township. So for all the elected officials, just remember, those of you who are elected in November, you have 4 years to complete your public records law training, and make sure that you get that proof to Tina so that it's in the file and we don't get this kind of finding again. ORC also requires that all public monies received must be deposited on the next business day if the monies received exceed $1,000. If it's less than $1,000, monies are to be deposited within 3 business days at the latest. Anyone who receives township monies must deliver said monies to the fiscal officer by the next business day so that she can meet the requirements. Because we are a little farther out now that we no longer have the bank in Okeana, the auditor's office has said that we can pass a resolution extending that time frame, and I've talked this over with Tina, and she has requested 4 business days after the receipt of monies for both over and under $1,000. So that's kind of our solution to help us extend that time frame a little bit so that she's not running to Hamilton or Oxford or Fairfield 4 times a week. So that's, again, up to the discretion of the board. Okay? They also said that the township needs off-site backup of UAN documentation. So I'm leaving that also up to the Board of Trustees. I don't know if you want to talk to Chris or however we need to do this, but we need to have some place where our off-site backup is stored.
Electronically or hard copy?
The way they, you think it's electronically? I thought it was hard copy. So I don't know. I can
Because
ask her.
electronically, we can do that, but if it's hard copy, we're gonna have to contract that out to, like,
Okay.
one of those,
Iron
Mountain.
Iron Mountain.
That's
and
gonna be
Iron
an
Mountain.
awful lot of paper.
yeah. it's-
Okay.
That's a lot of money, too.
I will,
Yeah,
Yep.
I will clarify that with
Okay.
Jenny tomorrow when I send her the signed documents that I need to send to her. And I will then email all of the trustees so that you know. Because that was not clarified in her email which way that she wanted it to go. I made an error when I recorded the real estate tax monies in 2019 for funds 2111, which is the fire fund, and 2191, which is the payroll fund for our firefighters. I just flipped them so that the bottom line for our financial report was not impacted. It's just that it went into the wrong funds. I have done the fund balance adjustment and everything is now correct. And so this has all been taken care of. But I wanted to let you know, yeah, I messed up. It's very easy to do, as Tina will tell you, the way that the order that they put them in is not the order that our funds are in, and that's why it was so easy to flip those two funds. But everything, and it, was, I think it was an error of like $40,000 roughly. But, so it didn't really impact anything, but everything is back to where it should be now. I'm going to skip down to number 6 and ask if the Board of Trustees wishes to respond to the audit findings in a written manner. This is one of the questions that she said that I needed to ask you when I talked to her today.
Right now, the findings were all minor, there's just little things here. There's no money missing, there's nothing like
Right.
that, it was just flipped in things. I'm good with not. That's-
We could probably do a course of action and just tell them what our proposed plan to resolve each of the findings. That would be the typical response to this as opposed to,
Okay,
I mean, Brett's right, as far as the severity, it's not at that level where we'd have to do anything too crazy, but just the responses. You've got the responses. I mean, I think we've already kind of figured out that we're going to figure out the off-site location, if it's going to be electronic or if it's going to be a hard copy, and once we do that, then that would be right. I think I would recommend that.
okay, if that's what you want to do, I need that response in writing in a Word document by tomorrow morning, because I have to get all of this to her so they can complete this audit. This was supposed to be done June 30th
Tomorrow before noon, or by what time do you need it?
by 10. I mean, what they're looking for in the response, from what I have seen in the past, is if you want to dispute anything
yeah,
that's in there.
That's what I was kind of getting, I don't think we have any disputes. I mean,
No, I don't have any disputes.
Right, so I think
Okay.
we're,
Then maybe you could just say we accept all the audit findings.
Okay.
Period.
I don't even think we need to do that.
If we
I think-
don't put anything in there, they are going to know that we accept.
Accept it.
Accept it, yes.
Okay.
I think
Okay.
that's- Okay,
And then, this I'm pretty sure you don't want, but I always have to ask this: do you wish to have an exit conference to discuss the results of the audit?
no, I think it's pretty clear.
I'm
The only
good.
thing is if we can get clarification on that
I'll make sure I get that.
UAN documentation. But, okay.
Okay, and then the last thing, which was probably the hardest for us to resolve, the auditors discovered what they considered a problem with the processing of employee payroll withholdings for the health insurance premiums. They said that I am doing it incorrectly. It didn't affect our bottom line, it didn't affect our financial statement, but their way of thinking, it was inflating our revenue and our expenditures, even though everything balanced out. They're telling me that we can't do it that way. So I said, okay, tell me how to correct it. It took us 2 months to get an answer from the Auditor of State's office on how we need to do this properly. So Tina and I would like to have, request executive session for personnel benefits to discuss how we're going to correct this problem. And it's, it's fixable, it's, it's not a huge deal, but we do have to change how we process it.
Surprised that they haven't come across this before in any other, if they didn't have an immediate response on how to fix it.
No
This has
one-
not come
I
up
mean,
at any other
we
township
talked to-
audit?
We've been through 3 different auditors trying to
Yeah, we've
find
been
out how
through
to
3
fix
different
it.
auditors. I've talked to one person from Local Government Services, which is also a division of the Auditor of State's office. He talked to several different people, and it took like 5 or 6 of them putting their heads together to come up with an answer, because none of them know how anything is processed in UAN. So they would tell me, well, you got to do it this way. I said, no, I can't do it that way. UAN won't let me process it that way. Oh, well, then we don't know how to do it. And, they said, well, contact another township fiscal officer and find out. I said, no, I want it in writing from the Auditor of State's office how the correct way is to do this, so that when this comes up again, I have the proof that we did what you told us to do. So it took almost 2 months to get that in writing.
So we've got that?
We've got it,
Okay, and then
yes.
you've got a plan on how to? Okay.
Yeah, we
All right,
have
good.
2 options on how to correct it and then go forward from there,
Okay,
okay?
all right.
And that's all that I have on this part. Like I said, we'll discuss the payroll part in executive. Do you have any questions for me about anything?
So do we have to read where they said we could, whichever option we went, we
31, I believe it
do-
is.
yeah,
with the
but
order.
I made a copy both ways, that no, you didn't want to make a comment, and that yes, that you did.
that
And
was where we replaced the or and the and?
yes,
Okay, so-
I made both
so that's
copies. I
done.
talked to Brett this
Okay.
afternoon, and it's ready for Tina and Brett's signature.
Okay.
And I'll put it all
Right.
together, and we can take care of that.
Great,
Okay?
thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys.
So
Thank
it is on the recommendations for off-site. It is in the recommendations for off-site backup. It says, the township does not have an off-site backup in place. Failure to maintain copies of information off-site could result in loss of critical financial data in the event of a disaster such as a network failure or cyber attack. So using the word copies of information might mean hard copies. I don't know. That's the question we have to do, is copies of.
Right.
Sounds to me more like
Yeah, and that's why I
hard
thought they
copy
meant
than
hard
data-
copy, yeah.
than
So
data.
it has to be off-site.
Yep,
Off-site, yes.
off-site, which I can tell you
Yeah, 'cause
firsthand.
our-
Yep.
I can tell you firsthand, several disasters, they lost everything, and they were literally writing checks out of a checkbook to pay people's salaries because they lost it all, it was all in one place, so. So copy sounds to me like it's hard copy.
Okay, I will clarify,
Okay.
clarify that tomorrow with Jenny. I can call her in the morning and ask her for sure what they are looking for.
Great.
Okay?
Thank
All
you.
right,
Yes,
thank
quick-
you.
Quick question on that, would that mean 2 separate buildings like on the same property, or is that gotta be a certain distance apart?
Distant
'Cause
apart.
like those disasters that
Distant
you went
apart.
to that I know where you're talking about up in New York, I mean, it wiped the whole town out.
Yeah, but like, I know there's places in Nashville that have backup systems. You could have it in Nashville, somewhere far away from here. You know, you wouldn't want to have it close to here, so another city in another state, or somewhere within, it's hard to say, several hundred miles from here.
Right.
Okay.
And that's what I think that Iron Mountain, they have several locations,
Yep.
and, but it's, like Brett said, it's not
It's
cheap.
expensive.
Yep.
Okay, I will clarify that and let you all know.
Okay,
They
All
will
right.
Ask
take,
them who's paying for that.
they will take electronic, they will take electronic stuff, though, if it comes down to that. So as a place to take it off and everything else. Working with it through a health research company that I did, they took our tape backups off of that.
All right.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thanks, Connie.
All right, so we have one quick thing before we go to the audience tonight. We need to do a small, quick executive session with Mrs., why am I blank? I want to say Thacker. I did that last time. Lenora and Schulteis and Tim
Ted.
Ted, why did I say that? I'm tired, can't think of names. Ted Hopkins. So I will make a motion at 7:32 to the executive session.
Second?
Hold on. To consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official.
Second.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Motion approved.
So we kill this tape.
Yep.
All right, so we want to do one at a time? All right, so I'll make a motion at 7:47 to come out of executive session.
Second.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Motion approved.
All right, I'd like to make a motion to hire as a contractor with a
Hold
10...
on. She needs to go first.
Oh, I'm sorry. You need to officially make it. You made it. Ask us.
Oh, I would like you to make a motion to.
Hold on, your mic's not on.
This isn't going to happen.
Here we go.
Trying to get it all on tape.
I would like the trustees to make a motion to appoint Lenore Schulteis as our new minute taker.
Okay, I'll make a motion to appoint Lenora Schulteis as our trustee and zoning minute meeting note taker, replacing Carol Thacker. Starting effective, the first meeting will be the zoning meeting on 10/6, and the next trustee meeting will be on Monday, October 11th. And it will be a contracted employee with a 1099, and the rate of pay will be $33.50 an hour.
Second?
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Motion approved.
All right, I'd like to make a motion to hire Mr. Ted Hopkins as our zoning enforcement officer, starting October 4th at a rate of $20 an hour.
Second?
Mr. Brucker?
Yes,
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Motion approved.
welcome to our
Welcome
new...
aboard. All right, anything else? If not, we will go to the audience. Does anyone in the audience have anything for tonight? Jeff, will you make sure that mic's on? Didn't turn it off?
Yeah, but it could
All right.
go up by itself.
Good.
Okay, Ken Tumbleson, Zoning Commission Chairperson. First off, on behalf of the Zoning Board, Carol, thank you for everything you've done for us through the years. It's been a pleasure working with you. To inform everybody what has happened in the past few days, Thursday afternoon, on my way home from work, I noticed a zoning violation down in Shandon, which I called Dale about and let him know that there was a violation down there, which he went down and took care of promptly. But he called me Friday morning to let me know how he had taken care of it, and that was all good, but he was a little upset. Apparently a trustee came into his office highly agitated and berated him. And he was only there doing his job, enforcing the rules that we put in place. And the zoning board is not real happy about the way he was treated. And we would like a response as to why he was treated the way he was treated.
From,
Mr. Kolb.
oh, okay.
Okay. I would like to just ask how I was perceived, Al, coming into your office and asking about an interaction with a zoning violation. Because it didn't seem like,
Because
it didn't
basic,
seem like you were kind enough to give me the documentation and anything else that that I needed.
Mm-hmm.
And also the temporary permit that was required, which was fantastic. That's exactly what he was looking for.
well, the perception from my point of view was the fact that, that I really couldn't handle the job, that it was going to take you as a trustee, which is not within your purview, to do this. You were presenting it to me as if this was, can we work something out for these people? Because they are trying to transfer their business here to the township, and all within that realm of peace, okay? Now, I told you right away, when we first started this, that I had been down there and that I was taking care of it. But you persisted onward to find a solution, or what you felt was going to be a solution that would work for them, all right?
Right.
All right?
Right, and that's what you helped me with, as far as you gave me that documentation, which also, and with the zoning appeals board and the zoning commission, there was a lot of gray areas in there. If somebody who's coming into the township would like to
What
start
are
a
the gray,
business,
what are the gray areas?
when it talks about the what is allowed to be put onto a commercial property, it says an abandoned pod, a mobile home, rail car, and like a modular pod. Those are the 5 defined areas that were allowed on a commercial
not
property.
allowed.
They're not allowed.
They're not allowed.
Right, that's what I said. They're not allowed on a commercial property. And then there was also other examples of that were not allowed.
Right.
Which was great. And now when somebody reads that, they're going to say, well, you know, like I looked into it and there was a modular unit that came up. Sometimes modular units are allowed. So you really have to look at what is a modular
Was this the
unit. How do you
definition?
define
Was
a
this the
modular? Now, hold on just
definition?
a second. Hold on just a second, Dale. How would you define a modular unit? Because I had never come across that. I had to go to the Ohio Construction Code website to understand what a modular unit was, which was extremely helpful for me to explain that a shipping container cannot be considered a modular unit, which I thought, well, maybe it could be considered a modular unit if it was permanently attached to some kind of a location.
All right, please, let
So-
me explain something
Okay, go
too
ahead,
that you
yeah.
don't see. Regardless of what's listed in that definition, there is an article in there, and it's in the 600s, it's in the 6s,
Yeah.
that states that if something is prohibited, if something is not listed exactly, okay, it is perceived to be prohibited. So just because it didn't say rail container, okay, doesn't mean that it can't be prohibited. It is prohibited because that one article states that.
All I'm saying is we gave him the right information so he would not violate our township
Only
guidelines.
after we sat and discussed it, and my perception of that
And then-
was that you were pushing me
I
toward
was-
that,
I
which
was
was
not-
not my, I could have told you at that time to just walk out of my office because it's not your purview to be telling me how to do my job.
When somebody comes to the township, any of the trustees or the fire chief with questions, and that's why I came up, because he called me and said, I'm having trouble connecting with the zoning department. Can you help me understand what my problem is? And I said, Major, I would be glad to try to help whatever I can do. If you need clarification, I'll go up and get the permits, the temporary permits, or understand more of the waiver, because he's a paver. He's in the paving business.
We know
He's
what he
not in-
does.
He's not in the zoning business.
This
So
guy
how do
has
you
already had a
expect him-
meeting with the zoning commission. A long time ago, month and a half
Did
ago.
Oh, longer than
containers,
that.
did
And
storage
we,
containers come up,
we
Ken?
informed him, yes, we informed him at the time that,
Okay.
of what he could and could not do there.
Then I don't know, he must not have understood something.
And therein lies the problem. Our guy was down there to enforce the rule that I brought to his attention he was in violation of. We already knew a long time ago, before these guys got started, that they were going to need to be watched closely. And if we have a trustee going behind the zoning commission and the enforcement officer's back, wheeling and dealing or trying to wheel and deal with a
I
resident,
take objection to that.
Well,
There
what
is no-
exactly did you tell
When you
them?
say wheeling and dealing,
What
you're
exactly have
stepping
you
on
told
areas
them
that you
that you
are
would help-
accusing something of. that-
what exactly did you tell
and
them, Jeff?
I take offense to that.
Answer the question. What
I take
exactly did
offense to
you
that.
tell them you would help them with?
I
Because
explained
this
to
is
them-
probably gonna come back to us long-term.
But I hope it does. You can call them in and ask and have them testify in any form you want and say, what did Mr. Kolb tell you? Please do that. I would encourage you, and if you would like, I will invite them up myself.
What did you tell them?
I said, we will, anything that we need to do to assist you to comply with the zoning department, get a legally required zoning certificate, if it's a temporary or it's a variance, Mr. Marshall will be more than happy to help you with that, and I
If
will.
it's
Oh,
allowed.
good.
If
Okay.
it's
Well, I tell
allowed.
you- I tell
Did you
you,
not get it, did you not get a temporary?
I gave it to you, and it's not come back to me. And I'll tell you in a little bit
He is
why,
doing it.
what is happening.
He is doing it on his time. I am not involved in it, Dale. He's
At
doing it.
this point in time-
And he's doing what you've asked him, and I don't know anything past that. I'm
Yes,
sorry.
but you presented it as if it was your decision that I do that.
It is not
And-
my decision. And Dale, I didn't present it in any form, and I don't know how you.
It's
I don't know
semantics,
how
okay.
you, I don't know why you went this way. I'm sorry, I just do not.
My perception of the whole thing was, here's Jeff Kolb coming in, trying to tell me how to do my job, and we're gonna work with these people, and we're gonna make it right. Those were your words.
One thing that we just need to do.
And this is
One thing that we just need to do, Dale, is make sure that we enforce the guidelines across the township.
That's what I was doing, because
That's what he
those-
was there to do.
That's what I was doing. Was
Exactly.
I was down there doing that,
How many
and
containers did you say we already have in place?
we
that
have some in
not-
place that I have
Okay.
written letters to, okay?
Okay,
All
well, then
right.
that's good. I know
Those
you said
letters
that,
are waiting.
and
I'm waiting
sure
on
that-
them.
I'm sure that over time that they'll be resolved.
They will be.
Okay.
All right, but this case and everything else, I will tell you this. Mr. Brandon Street and I, along with Mr. Galloway, sat down today,
I know.
and we worked out a choice.
That's great.
A decision.
That's great.
Not
That's the way it's
involving you,
supposed- that's the
which
way
was
it's
the way it was
supposed to be.
supposed to be, and you
That's
should
the
not
way it
have
was
been
supposed-
involved at all.
Well, then it should have been handled where he didn't call me. That's all I'm saying is if he
It would
feels
have been
comfortable
handled.
working with you,
It would
then
have been handled, but
shouldn't
he
call me.
called you. How does he know you?
We have gone back, and we have a connection through church. A long distance, I mean, an offbeat direction through church. We knew some people that went to church together. And I know he had come in when he first purchased Mr. Sauerland's property down there. I know he's been through our township quite a bit. I think everybody's been exposed to that company and the people who own that business.
And
they're
we
fine,
also
and
know
they're
their
fine
history.
people. And I will stand up and endorse their character.
Well, we know a little bit more about their background history as to why they're coming out here. And that's the reason we're keeping an eye on them.
Well, I would be careful about saying you're doing things with people, keeping eyes on people, because until they are trying to comply with the law, with our laws in this township.
Then why did they bring the
if
containers
you're
in?
putting comments on those people, and basically you're commenting on the way they're doing business in this forum is not appropriate. I wouldn't want anybody here's business to be brought in while they're trying to do something that's correct by the township.
They're not doing something that's correct.
They are.
They are
I
not.
think Dale has just said they were in here today and got a temporary permit. They're taking one of their containers off because they do not want to be conflicted with the township, and they want to be able to get that last container out of here.
They're not going to be
when they
taking the-
are over their variance period, as you've asked them to. Dale, they've done everything you've asked them to.
There's still a car sitting down
But
there.
it took me asking them to do it, not them coming to me and asking me what they should do, Jeff. They started this by simply putting the containers on there without even asking permission
We have
that they
business,
could
we
do
have
it.
business owners in this room that know what it takes to start a business. And I give them high credit because that is not an easy thing to do.
Well,
And if
they're
somebody
not
comes into
starting a
this
business, they're
township
just transferring
and
this
wants to start a
business.
business, let's try to help do what we can to make their business successful. We have
I've-
rezoned that
Jeff,
area
I
down
would
to
have-
B3.
Jeff,
so
I
why
would
can't
have,
we
had
help
they
those
walked into
people
me.
out?
What am I supposed to do? Go down there and stand and watch what they do all the time? I don't do that.
Just
You
give them
know
the
that.
guidance, that's all they need.
The guidance has to come when they ask for
Haven't
it.
they get,
I have
Do
given
it.
them everything along the way. The meetings that they've been in, the zoning commission sat and talked with them for what was a good hour that night.
Over an hour.
Over an hour that night, telling them what they absolutely needed to do. We made a decision that they could also go and build on that agricultural portion of that property that's zoned that way, okay? I told Brandon Street today, when he was in the office, I said, Brandon, this would not have happened had you come to me and asked me what is allowable down there. All right?
Was any of this discussed at the prior meetings? When they came, I don't know how many months ago it was,
It's
but
well
I know
over-
they came
it's
in.
Well back.
They
it's
were told back
last
then
year.
that they couldn't put trailers and whatnot on the property.
It was during the COVID period. It was in
Right.
2020. It wasn't this year. And we explained to them then what could go on the property, okay? An accessory structure is allowed. It's just not a rail container. Now, they plan to build a pole barn. And we sat down and we talked about it. It's going to be 60 by 40, or at least maybe that's the largest it will be. He knows that he has to come in and get a certificate. Brandon does. He knows he has to have engineered plans of some sort and fashion. He knows he has to get that certificate. He'll have a year to which he can build it. If he doesn't complete it, if he gets started on it, then he has any time. He has an unlimited time, as long as he gets it started and built, okay? I think I was very direct telling him today and everything. And I presented him with that purple copy that I gave you of, along with, I didn't give him a variance piece because it's not needed, all right? We have agreed that he will bring that in. And I told him exactly what to state in the purpose for this particular thing. And he will pay $50, like I told you, and everything else, and I will assign it. If the father had brought it in and studied, I wouldn't have signed it, Jeff. I really wouldn't have. Because of your, what I consider interference in me doing my job.
Dale, the interference comes because the gentleman has difficulty coming in and dealing with you, and you actually said that you would not be
I have a
able to deal
problem
with him
with
in the office.
the older gentleman, yes, with his father. Brandon and I have a good working relationship. I will
If we
admit
have
that.
if we have a relationship with people who come into this office as being paid by the people in this township, we don't have the luxury of having people come in and being rude to them or being abrasive to them. Now, I'm sorry, but that's just the way I see
Oh, I
it.
told Brandon today, didn't I, Jeff, that I was going to apologize to his father for what I said that Friday evening.
That's correct.
That's as far as I'm going to
And
go with
I'll
it.
just say this today in the meeting. We told him, fence, whatever, he comes in here, he follows the procedures, comes in, asks the question to Dale, what do I need? Do I need a permit for a fence, this and this? We made it perfectly clear today. If from this point on there's violations down there, it's on them. Plain and simple. We spelled it all out to them today, to him today. We worked it out. We got the 180-day variance with him. I gave them another plan if they don't have it because of construction times. But if they do one more thing down there today and come back and not ask Dale first, it is totally on them. I think this is closed. That's me. I'm just going to say that right now.
I think that's well understood, Chief, down there on their end, and I think they will comply 100%. And I think they've already taken the first best action to do what you've asked them to do, from what I understand, and that's to take one of those containers out of there so they don't get pinched on having two down there that they don't know what to do with.
Well, that story was not relayed to us today. I'll be honest, that the story was relayed to us that they're going to build a 40 by 60 pole barn and then put the stuff that's in those two containers into that building. So,
And those containers
and
will
those
remain
containers
during
are
the
staying there
180
with the
days.
180 days that Dale gave them the variance until that pole barn is built.
So the variance is for two? They don't have to remove one?
They're using them for storage.
Storage.
Until they build the pole barn.
So did you know about this, Tom?
No.
So there was a problem with Dale and you didn't talk to either one of us, Jeff?
Dale can, if Dale has a problem, he can speak for himself. It sounds like he did a great
No,
job
no, no, I
tonight.
meant you. Did you have a
I
problem with
had
Dale?
I had no problem. I had no problem. I behaved no differently than I usually do with you, Dale. Take that.
But I guess where I'm going with that, if you had a problem with him, we should have known.
I had no problem with him.
Well, obviously, there's some problem, because all
Well,
of
then,
this.
I think that would be incumbent on Dale. I think he's already explained if he has a problem with me. So,
I did.
okay.
So we got a process in place with a BZA to grant any variances. So is that just permanent, or is that also, should our BZA have gotten involved is what I'm getting
A
at?
variance would be permanent, so
Okay.
that's
So
why
we,
the temporary.
it is in your power to
But you should
issue
the
temporary.
temporary.
But
Is
you
there a time limit on that? Is it 180 the max?
Yes, with a renewal of another 180 days if needed.
Okay.
I think that was put into place for, I don't know about with shipping containers, but I know that was put into place for if someone had a house fire.
Right.
The zoning administrator could issue a variance, a temporary variance for someone to put a mobile home on the house.
While they were
On
building.
the lot while they were rebuilding. Or-
Right.
There's that, but it also talks about accessory structures too.
Okay. That was just my point, is that I think that was put in there, because I remember that being put in there some time ago, like a long, long time ago.
Right.
About temporary structures because of like,
Home fire.
home fires was a big thing that,
On the B3 side, I think when people are have a business and they're in the process of relocating a business or building construction work, and they have, there is no security down in that area as far as protecting tools or equipment where it can be stored safely. Anything down there is basically free for the taking if it's not within a sealed container, a lockable sealed container. So we're putting without something like that, you understand the need. I'm sure everybody understands the need of having a container on
Nobody's here
Cincinnati
saying they
Brookville
don't
Road
understand the need.
and having everything secure.
To just plop it down, and then when our guy goes down and he tried to work it out with them, for a trustee to come in his office and give him a hard time
I did not.
for doing his
I
job
reject that premise, Ken. I did not
enforcing
give
the
him a hard
rules.
time
This is a problem for the
I
zoning
did
board.
not give him a hard time.
We as a zoning board have a problem with this.
I did. I can only speak for myself. Dale can only speak for himself. And I believe
The phone
if
call I
somebody-
got Friday morning, somebody was very upset for the way they were treated.
Well, I had a resident who was very upset at the way that he was treated.
He's not a resident.
He's not a resident.
business owner. He does not
There's
live
a
in the
You talk
township.
about a resident or a business, so you call it whatever you want. It's somebody who is in our community who is doing business here and is a part of everything that we do here. Now, he might not be a resident, but it's a distinction without a difference. So
There's a big difference between a resident and a business. And there's those of us that are residents
the
with a
resident,
business.
if you look at your zoning guidelines, it says a business owner provides service to the local community. This is the local community, us, the people who live here. Now I feel that that's just as big a responsibility as me living next door to my neighbor and the things I do to take care of them. You take it the way you want to, that's the way I take it.
I think the issue we're really at hand here is the way our administrator was treated.
I think
And
the
that's
administrator
something
is the
we
way
have a
that,
problem
this is all I'm gonna say, and then I'm done. How business owners can come into the community and have a conflict with our zoning department.
So, back up. When did, you called on Thursday?
I called
When
on
did you go
Thursday.
down and see?
Right after.
Thursday
So
afternoon.
Thursday night.
What happened then? How did this
I
business owner get so
approached
upset?
Mr. Street, and I'll call him Senior because he's the father, okay? And I told him then that the containers he had there were not allowed as accessory structures on the property,
Okay.
okay? He said to me, he says, well, I just bought those today. What am I going to do with them? And I returned the thing, and I said, you're going to move them. You're going to have to get rid of them because you did not come get, we do not allow these as storage units here or accessory structures and everything else. And I turned to leave, and I turned to him, and this is what I'm going to apologize for because of what I said, was I said, you have 10 days to remove them. If not, then we'll be looking at court. And then he proceeded to tell me he was a God-fearing, law-abiding American citizen and everything else. I just shut up. I left. As I was walking off the property, I met his son, Brandon, who was in the office today. And I talked to Brandon about the fact of that white Camaro that's been sitting down there for well over 9 months, okay, that I asked it to be removed some 6 months ago, okay, and asked why had he not removed it from the property or enclosed it, because they do have a barn down there that was usable. But as Brandon explained today, it had a lot of stuff in it that they had to remove and everything else. But Brandon says that the car is being removed or will be removed, all right? I left the property at that point.
So what do you got to apologize for? I don't see where you were out of line on anything. You told him
Because of the
10
way
days
I
is
probably
part-
said it.
Okay,
Okay.
but that was, so what made you have a
change of heart?
A change of heart and give him a 180-day variance? Was it the influence of Mr. Cole came in and pressured you?
I felt
I'm not
pressure.
taking sides.
He didn't
I
even
felt
know.
pressured.
He didn't even know his options. Dale says he's got 10 days to remove a container off his property. He didn't know one thing about it, a 30-day permit or a 180-day variance to get the constructions that he needs to have done down there.
It's not my job to teach him.
It's your job to help him.
I wasn't, it's my job to also take care of violations too. I mean,
Do you have anything else, Ken?
No.
Okay.
All right. Anyone else in the audience tonight?
Kevin Brandis. I am on the zoning administration board also. It is not Dale's responsibility to go and police these people. It is their responsibility to come to him and find out what they can and cannot do. That, or look it up in our zoning bylaws. We have them, they're all spelled out. Anybody can get them. So that's their responsibility. That's not Dale's. So before the gentleman purchased it, did whatever he wanted to, he should have came to Dale and said, I'm looking to buy these. Am I allowed to put these on there? If he would have done that, this wouldn't be going on
I
right now.
couldn't agree more.
Okay, then
I
what's the,
100%.
then why are you saying what you're saying?
I'm saying it because when Dale
You're,
comes.
you're accusing
I'm saying-
Dale.
Hold up. I'm saying when Dale comes onto his property and you've got somebody who doesn't plead ignorant, whatever he doesn't know, you figure it out. I don't know what is going through his mind, but when Dale comes onto his property and then confronts him with the illegal containers, it's his turn, it's his time to explain what he can do and what he can't do. He's deer in the headlights. Okay, geez, I got 10 days and then I'm going to court. That's what he's thinking.
Okay?
And now Dale's got a chance to be the hero. Hey, I can give you a 30-day temporary variance, a 30-day permit. If you want to come in, I can give you pay $400 to the zoning board, to the zoning appeals board, and come in and plead for 180 days. That'll get you time through the construction phase. That'll protect your equipment, and then you can get rid of these containers, sell them to somebody, or have them take them back.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
gonna
Is
say
that,
one thing
is
on
that
that.
can Dale help out a guy who is already, and we've all done it, we've all crossed the line, and we need to get it fixed. And
Right.
that was Dale's chance to do that.
But see, the thing is, go ahead, Brad.
Let me do one thing from a different perspective. I can see your point in one way, I can see his point in another way. It all depends a lot of times, once you present this, how that response comes back. Because, if you present a cop, yes sir, no sir, things go much better. If you present a cop where you're giving them and then this, it goes south, and it goes south really quick. So a lot of that, from when Dale's first response, is how they respond back to him. So I don't know how that was. Obviously, he got frustrated. So I'm assuming just because he got frustrated after the first response, the response back to him wasn't good. I don't know that for a fact. I mean, it could have went the other way. I don't know. I wasn't there.
And I wasn't either. The only thing I got was a phone call. And I said, I'll go try to figure what's going on.
Right, but the thing is the guy came, him, his son, they were all in front of us. We told them flat out what they could and couldn't do. I mean, we were straight up front, and we gave them all the rules and regulations. This is what you can and can't. That was before they even bought the extra property. That was when they first bought the first part.
And that was a long meeting, if I remember.
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was.
So we've already had, this guy's been informed that before you do anything, you need to make sure it's okay. So that's where Dale's coming to his presence down there. We've already told you, when you came to the meeting, before you bought that property, that if you're gonna do something, you need to make sure it's allowed. So Dale's going down there on that premise saying, we've already talked to you, you've already been here, now you're doing something that you're not supposed to, you didn't even bother coming in and seeing us. So now, that's why Dale comes down there with the attitude that Dale has. Not an attitude, but whatever, perception. And that's why we had prerequisite already going on with this guy. And, I mean, I've never met him, just that one time he was up here. But, I mean, that's the problem. They were forewarned and told what they could and could not do with that property before they ever bought that additional property. So that guy, where you're saying, I don't know what I'm doing, wrong, you've been told. And we told him. So that doesn't fly. So that's where I'm saying, when Dale goes down there and says, you can't do that, you know you can't do that, and this is what I'm telling you, you gotta get it out of here, he was forewarned before he ever did that. And he's just doing it, he's flying in the face of us saying, you're a bunch of country bumpkins, you don't need to know what I'm doing anyway.
I mean, I couldn't.
And that's not how we're here.
He has the most respect for you guys. He's told me
Well,
that.
That's where we're at with this. And so you know.
I understand. I'm just saying that he's not sliding the zoning. I'm sure he's not sliding the zoning. He doesn't appear it to me.
You're willing to put your reputation on the line of that by saying that. You know him that well?
No, I don't know him that
Then
well.
why are
Okay.
you speaking for him?
Yeah.
Why is your sign in his yard now? Because obviously that looks suspicious to me.
Yeah, so we
It-
are here
I
to
have-
support.
There's- I think there's a lot of people who have signs in a lot of people's yard. You know, we're running for election this year, right?
Yeah, we're aware of
Okay.
that.
Okay.
But for somebody that you don't know very well, you're speaking an awful lot, putting a lot of words in his mouth.
I would speak for anybody in this township who came in and tried to do the right thing.
Okay.
I don't prejudge people,
Okay?
okay?
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Anything else? Anyone else? All right. Mr. Galloway.
Okay, we'll start with the administrator report. An update on the American Rescue Plan. I did talk to Tanya Roberts today from the legal team about a question that I'm going to bring to you tonight on the fireside. The way that works now is that if we need a verbal approval, she'll give us a verbal approval and then back it up with written documentation. And I'll kind of explain that when we get to the fire report. Second of all is the 2021 CDBG grants. It's late in the day. Has opened up. I think Chief Griffith talked about this last meeting, but we just have till November 5th for me to write that grant. So I'm looking for a wish list for the township, so I don't wait till the last minute to write that grant. So that's the one we used in the past for the culvert down at Church Street. So if you guys have I think I gave you the packets of what's allowable. If you get that back to me sooner than later, and we
What
can start
about
working
these
on that.
culverts that Rob's gonna bring up while we're on this? Can we add that to that?
We can add it. Historically, paving has been one of the ones that they have passed and have awarded funding for in the past, but I've never seen a culvert in the last 6-7 years that they've done these grants, but we can try it. We can do 2 projects. We can do one of
wasn't
paving
that
and a
long
2 of
ago.
culvert.
Church Street wasn't that long ago, and they proved that. That was a culvert.
Yeah,
That was a ditching project.
That was,
Okay, that was.
yeah.
yeah, a stormwater ditching.
It was a stormwater thing, because it was cleaning out a ditch, it was replacing some piping, adding a pipe, but
So it
It was
wasn't a
storm-
clear,
that was-
wasn't
that
a
was-
replacement of
Like
a
a big
culvert.
replacement
that
pipe.
was a stormwater project.
Let me mention one more thing while you're on this. You're already working on the grant for Morgan Township, correct? Not Morgan Township, Morgan Ross Road.
Morgan Ross Road,
What would be the second road that we would blacktop past that? Is that a race lane?
The next road would be Race Lane Road because of the chip seal that we have on there is coming off. And that needs to be milled off and,
Any chance you have a price that we could maybe do the culverts on that road on this grant to see if we get it for like the following year to do?
use Race Lane for the CDBG grant?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Do that and do the
Yeah.
culverts. Let's
Right.
do 2 projects on that. Cause we already got the prices on these other culverts, which,
Right.
I don't know, thoughts?
That
So
sounds
what
good.
was your,
Good.
say the projects again?
It's the 4 culverts. I got that
I've
paperwork.
got them right here.
The 4 culverts? Okay, that's all I need for right now.
Like 45,000 for those culverts.
These
Didn't you
ones
say
we
we had to
talked
go
about
up?
last meeting.
Yeah,
Okay,
George Road, North Wynn, and Chapel.
yep, and then what was the other one?
The race lanes.
And the race lane
Paving.
Okay.
paving.
And
Okay.
I might even have some numbers on paving that are a year or 2 old that I
You
could
might
add.
want to check with them real quick, how much to raise it.
So will you,
Okay.
Well, if it's 2
be
years
able to
old,
rate
I
that
want to raise
grant?
it 20%.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
10% a year.
I'll be able to write those, and the thing is that your past, those surveys are good for 10 years.
right.
So do we have
So-
enough, or do we need to hit
I'll
these
have
other
to
areas?
figure that out, because that area is south of kind of where we were up on the Lehigh Road, especially the George Road and the race lane, so I'll have to find out. Desmond Miata doesn't work there anymore. He has left and gone to Hamilton County, so there's a new
Oh, really?
person that works there now that's the lead, and so I'll have to find out. But I know for a fact the ones that we've done, even the ones that we use for the Okeana project, those are good for 10 years, so any of those that we have. So we have enough, I think, for the township-wise to do that, because we'll blanket the culverts in the road, and the lane, and the rest lane is roads that have to be traveled throughout the township, so that should suffice. So I'll find that out,
Okay.
but these are, they're pretty basic to write. I just need to have, something before the 5th of October, so we'll do those two. Okay.
Robert, the numbers that you gave us a couple weeks ago for the Alert New London, you gave us some prices on that, the culvert on Race Lane Road. Are those numbers still fairly accurate?
The numbers I gave you were 2 pipes on George Road, one on North Wind and one on Chapel. There's nothing for Alert New London.
Well, this is Alert New London this was the Alert New London for the culvert replacement. And,
Let me see what you
That
got
was
there.
the first 50,000 that we've already got approved to do those culvert
Let me
replacements.
see that there.
That's the ones that's already in place to be done. Because remember, we were at 50,000, because at one time, that was like 130 when
This
we were
Alert New London,
contracting.
we've already done that one. This here is this is altogether different. Yeah, this is Race Lane Road, but this is some pipes on Race Lane Road that need to be fixed before that paving is done.
Right.
Now, this George Road you have here, this is one that I have on here. No, this is a different one, I'm sorry. That one's a different there too. Now here, you've got them here, the 2 George Roads, Northwind and Chapel. These here are from a prior meeting, prior stuff we talked about, altogether different than what I sent to the last meeting. So
okay.
The last meeting, you weren't here and AC presented it. We had some questions on that, that's why we
You got that
kind of tabled it till tonight.
Right.
Okay.
So that's, I see what you're talking about. That's from prior meetings and stuff we discussed there. So all that stuff is, some of it is still stuff we have to do, but it's, as far as what we're dealing with here, that is off the table. That is totally something
Good deal.
altogether different.
Okay.
So what we're dealing here now is, this is what I'd asked Scott Bressler. If you want, I can just bring this up when we do my regular stuff instead of.
That's fine.
Your times.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's all I just needed is the clarity of what the grants will be. So Rob and I'll get with that and I'll write those up, so.
Okay.
Next is, talked to David Evans today. He's about a week behind because of all the wet weather we had the last couple of weeks. Rob is going to pressure clean the 1858 building this week, and that'll actually get him ahead of the game. So he's still looking at about a week late, so it could be the first part of November before he paints that, but it's still in his schedule.
Is it still weather dependent then, or could
Yeah,
it be
but I think
pushed
he's
to
still
next
got.
year, or
No,
he's definitely gonna get it?
he's definitely trying to get it done this year. Absolutely, yes. The last thing is, it's in your packet, and actually in your packet, let me go back a second because I forgot this in the packet. So I updated and it has a 927 on there of just some of the projects that were on that priority list now. And again, when we get to these a little bit more, I got a thing actually today about radios being allowed in the American Rescue Plan, and it just came out literally this afternoon. But a lot of this stuff is just then getting documentation from the legal team, the law firm, about if it is allowable before we bring it back. I know the LED signs are one of the ones that the trustees have kind of moved forward to, and we have those quotes. So when we get to that point, I can ask him to get that legal opinion on that. And it's the one that like I said, for the bunker gear is a verbal one, and I'll explain that here in a minute. But it's a very smooth transition. You call her, she says, here it is. Apparently there's a lot of townships using her services. And she says, I can give you a verbal if it's something I don't need.
This is
to
the one
have.
we approved last
Yes.
meeting at
Yep.
140 an hour?
Yep, exactly.
And I'm sure she's getting multiple of the same questions.
Yes, so absolutely. So this last one, it's in your packet. You'll see in there relief availability for Ohio and Kentucky natural gas and electric customers. This was sent to me late last week by Tim Abbott from Duke. And it's just a thing that I sent Tom to put on the website. Yep. It's just if folks are low-income folks have an issue paying their electric or energy bills during the COVID, there's some numbers here to contact and reach out to some folks on that 211 program. So
I'll get that on there.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so we're going to move over to the fire reports.
And
sorry.
Can we put that on Facebook too?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So I'm going to move over to the fire chief's report. So you're going to have in your packet an email that says price increase and then a Phoenix quote for a second set of bunker gear. So currently our folks have one set of bunker gear or turnout gear. We have issues when it either gets exposed to fires or COVID. We've had a couple, and Chief's going to talk about this, but we've had a lot of COVID exposures lately with our equipment and gear. There's a price increase, if you read here, there's a price increase starting October 1st from Lion, and it's going to go up about 8 to 10%. So this morning I called Tanya at the law firm and said, hey, I've got a trustee meeting tonight, I've got 4 days. Is PPE, and explain this to her, and can I get a verbal if it's allowable? And she said, absolutely. The first question she said is COVID very heavy in your township right now? I said, yes. I said, I can actually send you health department data that shows it. And she goes, send me that. She goes, verbally, it's approved. I will send you, in the following days, an actual written documentation that says it is approved. So with that, we're looking at a 8 to 10% increase in turnout gear the 1st of October. To say this is the second set of bunker gear. It's turnout coats and turnout pants for 25 sets at $74,115 and no cents, and it is allowable under that American Rescue Plan money to purchase.
So if we don't do it by October 1st, 4 days or whatever it is, it's going to go up
About a $7,500
$7,500
increase in price. Yes.
All right, so the information you sent her about from the health department statistics is that could that
Absolutely.
change it?
No,
or-
that would actually increase.
Okay, so
it would-
she gave you the verbal without that?
Correct.
And that would just strengthen it?
Correct. That
Okay.
strengthens it in
Okay.
her documentation that she'll actually write back to us. It strengthens her legal opinion back on that, yes.
And
And
this-
actually, PPE still falls under the CARES Act, which is still tied into the American Rescue Plan.
Okay. So, you good with that?
I'm good with that.
I'll make a motion to issue a PO to Phoenix. Is that who we're going to
Yes,
directly to?
Phoenix Safety Outfitters.
Outfitters for additional set of bunker gear for 25 of our firefighter personnel for a total of $74,115. And that will come out of what fund number did you give did you come up with a fund number yet?
For the American Rescue Plan account?
I think it's 27.4, but I'm not 100%.
I'll just say the American
Yeah, the
Rescue
ARP
Plan
Rescue
Fund.
Plan
Yeah,
Fund.
just
Fund.
ARP.
Okay, so $74,115 that will come out of the American Rescue Fund plan.
Second?
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Carol, this may be one of your last official POs.
148.
148, thank you.
-202.
Okay. I appreciate it, and I know our folks will definitely appreciate that, that second set. Next, so we're going to talk about the vehicles.
Do we have enough room to house? Is their lockers big enough for 2 sets, or? what are we
We're going to
do
be
with it?
creative with that, or we have some other options and ideas in place as well. Might have to utilize the community center to go down and get a second set or something. So we've got a couple of ideas in place, yes.
All right.
Because it is tight over there with the set of gear. So there's either utilizing 142 for the second set with some gear racks down there, or probably that would be our number one thing, is to gear some gear racks, additional ones down at 142. So, yep. All right, second, so update on the vehicles. So Rob and I had a chat with Jenny Loveland from Valley Ford just before I left for Louisiana. And there's really no good news, as everybody has found with the auto industry right now. So Rob's truck has been totally canceled. So it will not be built now until the earliest of May of 22 and be a 23 model.
Still at the same price?
Still at the same price.
All right, I'll take that, but.
That was a confirmation
It's not what you
from
want,
Jenny.
but at least we didn't go up in price.
But I got my order in before the chief, and mine got discontinued. That ain't fair.
He did whine and complain about that, but it's because his was a 21-year model, and they've wiped it. So if you've gone by the Kentucky Speedway in the last
They're
couple
gone.
of days, they're gone.
Yeah, they're
And
gone.
according to a reliable source, very reliable source, they took them to scrap. They took
you
them all to
kidding?
scrap because Ford didn't want to deal with them. The chips are not coming in, and that was from a very reliable source that knows the owners of Cronin Ford.
Well, I can't imagine what they were
So-
paying for rent down there alone on those
Yep.
trucks.
Having rodent issues as well.
There you go. Yep. So they all went to scrap. 5,000, 6,000 pickup trucks went to scrap. Wow. Yep. So the battalion is still scheduled to be made November of this year, and it will still be a 22 model, same price. Because mine was a 22 model, Rob's was a 21 model, is why they just shut the 21 model line down and just eliminated it. There was no more room in the 22 line to make any more new vehicles, so his got pushed back to next May, and it'd be a 23 model.
May of 22, and it'll be a 23 model.
That's what she said, right, Rob? Yep. So with that, the buggy has got a long wait before we get the battalion. It could be November, December, or sometime of this year when it goes actually to the production line. So
There you
it's
have
not
it.
actually that far off, but it's almost October next week. So that is it. And Rob didn't believe me, so we actually called back. He says, well, my truck was ordered before yours. I said, well, let's go call her back. And thank goodness she actually explained it to Rob and he understood it. So go ahead, Rob.
I thought it was a conspiracy.
So, needless to say, and Rob and I have discussed this numerous times, but the GMC pickup truck's got to stay in service for a while longer because
It's dead in my driveway right now. I have the driveway.
All right, you put a mic somewhere.
that one's on.
I'm having some issues with it right now, so that it's sitting dead in my driveway right now. So
Battery or? do you
I'm
know?
hoping that's all it is. 'Cause
We had to start driving the 550.
might have
Park
to.
that thing.
So that's the latest on the vehicles, the two vehicles. So,
Well, now that we're about finished with all of our summer help, that won't be a big issue now, so. We got one more month with Dan. Dennis is gone permanently, so. Have Dan for one more month.
okay, let Chief talk about the updated COVID issues. I just need one PO, so it's in your packet. It says Vogel Pool. It's actually 3 vehicles. So every year we are required by NFPA to do a complete safety inspection of the apparatus. And this is the quote they'll be here in, Rob, they got to do the vehicles next week because they want to do them before the oil. They will not want to touch them after we spray them with oil. So they're going to be this is going to be next week because the 13th we're getting our annual rust oil preventative on the trucks, and the mechanics don't want to do a safety inspection and go through that whole thing with that oil still dripping off of it. So we up this to, instead of, usually this is done in November before the oil. So it's $1,080 for each vehicle, $1,080 for engine 141, $1,080 for engine 142, and $1,080 for tanker
How
141.
long are they out of service while they do this inspection?
About 2 hours, about
Okay,
2
so
to
it's
3 hours.
not like a day or something?
No. They actually go through and they change all the filters. They go through and they check
So they
any
do 'em all
cracks
in
in the
one
frame.
day?
Yeah. Well, they're going to do engine 141 and engine 142. They're going to do those both in one day and come back the next day and do the tanker. But they go through, check any cracks in the frame, brake lines, all that safety inspection that's required under NFPA safety. I don't even remember what the number is for that. And then they also, at the same time, do the annual fluid changes, air filters, fuel filters, and all that as they do the safety inspection. They kind of do all that at once.
They do it here, we got to
Yeah,
take it to
no, they
them?
do them right here in the bay.
So do you want the PO for the exact amount, or you want it over in case there's something wrong that needs to be fixed?
Well, this is their quote for that. Anything that's additional after that will be charged separately. This is just a flat quote for coming in and doing the safety inspections with all the stuff. This is the same price they charge us every year to do this.
Will they make the repair,
They'll make the
immediately?
repair and then they will bill us additionally for something after, because
So
we told
should
them.
we have I see where you're going with that. Should we have something there? Because, let's say it's a $5,000 repair, we probably would need to talk about that. As
Yes.
opposed to just giving them a blank check.
My opinion would be is to approve the 3 POs for the 3 safety inspections. If something drastic comes up and they said the vehicle's got to be put down as service because of a cracked frame or who knows whatever, a brake line that's shot, we're going to have to take it out of service then, and then they're probably going to have to order parts. They literally hardly have
So
any
you get a
parts
quote
now.
and then come
we
back?
would get a quote and come back if it's over 1,000, yes.
All right.
Yes.
All right, so I'll make a motion to Vogelpool to do the inspections on the 2 engines and the tanker for $32.40.
Second.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Motion approved.
One quick thing before you turn it over to Chief.
Yes.
Let's go back to the American Rescue Plan.
Yes.
When you're talking to the lady up there, I'll see what these guys think about this. Can we see if building a pavilion and possibly a walking path will fall under this money to do the American Rescue Recovery Plan?
We can,
Because I know they've got some really off-the-wall stuff you can do and a lot of things we can't use it for, but that might be something to start that out there, if we can use it for that. I don't have any prices or anything, but we at least need to know if that's even something to even look into. I don't know what your guys' thoughts is
Yeah,
on that.
that's fine. I mean,
At
that's,
least we would know, yes, and then we can decide later. Because if we did a pavilion out there and then maybe started a walking trail, we could eventually start this and then maybe later on build it up. But at least that'd be a start.
I know we have a agreement contract with them that we can utilize her at $140 an hour. Is there any way you could talk to her and see? Because like Brett said earlier, she probably gets a lot of frequently asked questions. Could she make a list of frequently asked questions and what her decision is so we can, not that we're not trying to alleviate
Right.
paying her, but
Right.
she doesn't have to
Like
be asked the
publish-
same question 20 times.
like publish maybe a weekly or
Right, just
bi-weekly
like-
frequently asked questions
Right.
thing. Yeah, I think
I
that's a
doubt
great
they'll
idea.
do that because then they're gonna lose money. Because, I mean, if they get the same question from 1,300 townships, that's $140 basically at times 1,300.
Can ask.
I mean,
I will ask.
think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I mean,
understand.
that's,
I will
I
ask.
doubt they'll do that, but
I mean, it
But
was,
nice,
I was,
but
and
that's how they make money.
and she was between meetings. She called me because kind of the way I said, left my voicemail to her. We literally talked for probably 10 minutes at the most. So I'm going to see how they bill it. If they bill it, it's like, okay, that was only a 15-minute, because a lot of law firms bill them on the 15 minutes.
Right.
So they may, the next time I call and it's a half hour, we may now look at only 45 minutes of time. I don't know how the hour accrues that I need to ask that. But this was like one of these things, if we don't do it today, we're looking at $7,500 at a
Right.
minimum of a raise, and she called me right away with that, so. I have no executive sessions for either administration or fire chiefs tonight, and before I turn it over to Chief Griffith, any final questions for me?
Nope, thank you
All right,
for your service, the IMT.
I,
You want to give a little report on that?
I can do it here. I can bring a PowerPoint in next week. I'll just say this. It's funny, actually, one of the wives of one of the folks that went down with me said, well, that hurricane was, 2 weeks ago. Why are you going down there now? And if you're familiar with southeast Louisiana, below New Orleans, they call it the Boot. So it's the Boot down there. You have a port down there called Port Fourchon, and Port Fourchon receives about 75% of the Gulf that comes in from the Gulf of Mexico, and it goes right through the tankers and the ships right to the refineries, which are down right now too. Hence, your gas is up. Gas prices are up. That got pretty much catastrophic damage to there. We talked to a ship there, and they had the eye wall come over them, over the top of the ship, and the instrument broke at 196 mile an hour winds. The ship next to them recorded one at 209 miles an hour. So to the right of that is an island called Grand Isle, which reminds me of like a Hilton Head or something. Total catastrophic, just clean the house is right off the beach and off the stilts, and they're estimated a minimum of 3 months before they get electric and actual drinking city water there. It just annihilated. So we provided fire suppression down there. We had 145 fire trucks that we were putting in all these stations. And so most of that's volunteer. So there was, I think, 143 volunteer fire departments in this 10,000 square mile area that was hit. With that, we had fire trucks from Minnesota, Massachusetts, Kentucky, Arkansas, Kansas, Texas, Mississippi, you name it, and as well as state troopers. And they were fighting fires daily because they were flipping the electric back on, the houses weren't ready to receive it. And one guy told me from Houston, now you can think of Houston, he goes, I've seen more fire in 3 weeks down here than I've seen in my own station in over a year. That's how many fires there were. We had 2 fatalities down there where people didn't obey the law on a 4-way stop when there's no traffic light, blew through it and killed 2 people. We lost a police officer down there who swerved to miss a tree in the road and drowned in his patrol car. So it's very catastrophic down there, and it'll be down there for many months. But our folks played that role in providing all that service for the backup for the volunteers. A lot of volunteers evacuated their houses, moved with a family member back up to another state to evacuate. Their house was leveled. They said, we're never coming back. There's 2 fire departments down there right now that lost 95% of their volunteers. They have no volunteers now to fight fires when they get their station back up. So a lot of stories down there. I'll bring a PowerPoint maybe next meeting and just show some pictures of it. But
Yeah, bring the PowerPoint, show where you were sleeping and how you guys got flooded out at 11:30 at night.
Yeah, we had to evacuate 1,400 National Guard and emergency responders out of tents at 11 o'clock at night because we went under a tornado warning for Hurricane Nicholas. So yeah, that was the other part we did. We managed 2,000 troopers, National Guard, and all that in a big base of operations. So good stuff. It can definitely happen here. You know, it's stuff that we bring back and can be ready here in the township and the county if we ever get a tornado or something that significant. So.
Is there any discussion of the IMT going back? Or
not to that one. They're kind of have got themselves back on state resources, so they're pulling fire trucks and folks from the north end of the state that weren't affected down to the bottom, to the boot. But the hurricane season's still young. You know, it's through November, so who knows? Who knows? Could be.
All right.
But thanks for that opportunity to speak. I appreciate that, and I'll bring a PowerPoint in next meeting, and we'll kind of definitely show it a little bit more in detail. The pictures don't do it justice, to be honest with you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Chief.
Okay, I'm looking at this. This is the 82nd report of COVID. I never thought we'd be having the 82nd report. And this is the highest numbers I've ever seen in all these reports I've given since I've been giving you these since last month.
82nd here at the trustee meeting?
82nd, well, we took a break when it was going away in June, but I've been given every 2 weeks. But this is the 82nd generated by the Department of Health.
Wow.
Yeah, so I never thought I'd be giving the 82nd report. The median age of COVID in Butler County continues to lower. It's 38 now. It's hitting the younger population. The positivity rate is the highest I've ever seen at 13.1%. And the number of cases is 379.2 per 100,000, which is equal to the fall surge that we were all locked down about. The numbers for 45053, this is the highest percentage I've ever seen, 183.3% increase in 45053. I've taken more COVID in the past month than I did the previous year. I've been in houses that every person in there was positive. We've been to 3 of those, and we've taken critically ill patients out. As you've been watching Active 911, the pace of calls is going up and up. Surrounding us, 45013, which is much larger than Morgan Township, but is a good indicator, is up 52.8. And then to the north, 45056 is up 25%. So we're absolutely surrounded by it. The call volume, and my wife had a good point when she hears my pager go off. It says unconscious, 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 and it stays till she resets it when I leave for a run. And she said, I've never seen so many unconscious people in my life. I said, it's all COVID, because that's how they present. They become septic and they get unconscious, and we get called. So that's where so the numbers continue to go up. For the first time I've seen, we've also the deaths are holding kind of steady. But the hospitalizations have jumped 67% in Butler County hospitals in the past 2 weeks, which is very telling. Every hospital we've been to, they have the hallway beds out now. There's only one hospital currently that are letting family members even in the hospital with their loved ones, which is a really tough thing.
How long are these people infected before they go unconscious? Does it go that quick?
It depends on their health status and how many comorbidities they have. So a diabetic with asthma is going to go a lot quicker than a healthy person, which may or may not. But it's a predisposition of their comorbidities that really affect them, and those are the sickest people that you're seeing.
And that's actually one of the issues that we have is people are afraid to go to the hospital, so they wait to the last minute to call 911, and they are just as sick as can be when we
Yeah.
get to them.
I've taken some very sick people out in the past 2 weeks.
So have they been tested positive, or do they know they've got it, or?
People in their house have it. There's a real hesitancy to get tested, and there's a hesitancy for a lot of things. But for example, I went to a house that had 6 people positive. I'm sure they were all positive, but only 4 had been tested. So it's not a stretch to say the lady we took in was positive. There are so many people positive now, they cannot contact trace it. In the very beginning of this, when we took a positive person in, we got a call from the health department and said, hey, that person was positive, were you wearing appropriate PPE? It's not even happening. There's no calls, there's no nothing. So last week I instituted a policy that we're going to dress out like everybody is positive. That way, whether they are or not, we don't have to send anybody to quarantine. If they follow the guidelines that I pushed out, then unless there's some break in technique or some failure of equipment, we are covered and we won't be going to quarantine, because if we get one person in quarantine, it's going to be the whole station soon.
Right.
So we're gonna, and I've also made a request to Butler County EMA for some more masks, just because all of a sudden now everybody wants masks, within our department, and now you can no longer reuse masks because quantities of masks are appropriate, that reusing them is now CDC not recommended. So we've provided everybody with every bit of PPE they need, and we have resources to get more. We can also use American Rescue Plan, as we did with the CARES Act, to buy PPE too.
They're available?
All you want.
Okay.
It's amazing now. The supply chain for that has caught up, and there's plenty of PPE. And we have a wide selection from complete N100s on down to surgical masks, and people can choose what they want based on the level of care the person needs.
So you said this was your 82nd report?
Yep.
Back probably in the 40 to 50
Yes.
number report. Our county was always color-coded. Are they going to that system?
No, they're not, because they're using this indicator of an incidence per 100,000. So 50 is where we were when the governor, well, he had no choice because legislature had changed his powers, but 50 was always the number that has been agreed on by the CDC, that you pretty much don't have to do anything, just wash your hands and be careful. 50 has always been the number that's been determined, but we're not going back to color coding, they're just using this number. But we're at 379.2, which I haven't seen it that high per 100,000 in many months, so.
What were we when we were on the border of going to, I can't remember the color code, it was.
The red.
Red.
Red to purple.
We're
Purple, yeah.
about right in there.
Okay.
Yeah. They've tried to make it more meaningful to people, what a color means, but when you think of 379 people for 100,000, that may not seem like a lot, but then there's the effect of more and more people getting it as it spreads. And the vaccinated can carry it to the unvaccinated because it's in the nasopharynx now, so it's everywhere. Interesting enough, the only place that has a mask mandate has 25% increase. I'm not drawing any conclusion, I'm just saying either people aren't wearing, or it's not working. But 45056 has an increase too. So, and that's by ordinance, so.
Nobody's following it.
I don't think anybody's
I
following.
went into Kroger's and
Yeah.
there's no.
So that's my, I don't think anybody's getting $100 tickets in that entity. Vaccination rates have dropped, and with the booster approved, the interesting thing about the booster is you self-identify if you're at risk, do you want the booster, so basically anybody can go get a booster for Pfizer, because you have to determine if you're a high risk for infection, or you're high risk, or you have the health issues, and it's determined by you. So if anybody wants a Pfizer one,
Okay, answer this for me, because I've had this question from 2 people.
Sure.
They got the Pfizer.
Mhm.
The booster is a Pfizer.
Yes.
They got the Moderna. Can they get the Pfizer
No.
booster? Okay, that's what
You
I,
know,
that's
so what
what I
happened is-
thought I read, but
Pfizer went first for the booster update because they're FDA approved, they're not under emergency authorization, so their booster approval was smoother. Moderna is going for it next, but Moderna's probably gonna wait until they get their FDA approval and then go for the booster.
so people that got the Moderna or the Johnson & Johnson cannot get a booster?
No, well, unless they're immunosuppressed, and to be honest, you go and tell them you're immunosuppressed, there's no way they would know, so if somebody really wanted one.
But is there, like, is there bad effects if you
No.
mix the two?
Yeah, you can't mix them. If
But
you had Moderna, you gotta stay on the Moderna train. If you had
got
Pfizer,
the-
you gotta stay on the Pfizer
They're not gonna
train.
give you the Pfizer?
No,
Okay.
no. And it would be ill-advised to do that. And I've told people that, you know. There's good indications that Moderna is providing the best protection over Pfizer at over 90% still at 6 months. That's why they're not as much hurry as Pfizer. And when this first came out, they wanted all first responders, healthcare workers to get Moderna. We're kind of knowing now why, because it provides the best. And Pfizer is second, and Johnson & Johnson's very good. One shot, you're done, and there's no of those mRNA issues that people are concerned about. It's based on a cold virus, and it's a completely different delivery method. It's just like the flu shot you get every year. So that's a good opportunity for people who have the mRNA concerns. It's one shot, and you got 90% protection. And you hear about the breakthroughs and all this, and what the breakthroughs are some people's body reacts different to that vaccine, but they're not getting admitted and they're not dying. They got basically, feels like a flu or a sinus infection, a few days. Chief's daughter had it. 2 days later, she was fine, 3 days later, because it feels like a sinus infection. And that's the real intent of a vaccine, is not completely preventing it. Sometimes it just makes it not severe. So we'll see what the 83rd one, 4th one presents. I read an article today that said this should start to drop off now by Thanksgiving. We'll see. We're gonna run out of people who get sick at some point. If you got 55% vaccinated and 13%, by my math, we're over 70%, 68%, so we'll see.
We'll see.
People, please wash your hands. That's the best prevention still to this day.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Brown?
What way was that?
Okay. Need the resolution to approve, and I'm gonna ask for $45,000. Based on the prices that they gave me for the 4 culverts, and this is going back to what I asked Jeff Griffith to present to you last week, and you guys had some concerns about it, and that's rightfully so. Those prices are for material only. That material only also includes if they need a crane to set the boxes, like for the one on North Wind, that has what they call a connex, or not a connex. Anyway, it's a box, a concrete box. So you need a crane to set that. That includes that crane to set that. That includes any equipment that they have to rent to do the job, materials, all that. So the county quoted us for a total of $40,000 is what he gave me for today's price to do them. And that they is Scott Bressler.
And the county is doing this.
And the county is doing the work.
Okay.
Now this is what kind of made it all confusing, and the reason why you guys didn't want to approve it is he made it sound like that there was more to come to it. In talking with him after he had talked with Brett, because Brett called and asked him a question, he didn't get back to Brett or whatever. He called, wanted to know what was going on. I told him the scenario. He told me that this was just for materials, and I says, well, now here's the question: is there going to be a price? Because the county is going to do these for us. Is there going to be? We going to have to pay the county's employees their wages to do this? No, we are not. This time. Probably next year, if we go and ask for 4 more culverts just like it, we're probably gonna have to pay their salaries and stuff. But
Yeah, because he told me the price here is what it's gonna cost us to do it.
Correct, because.
Maybe 5 to 10% more because of the raising materials.
Correct, and that's the reason why I'm asking for 45,000, because a 10% increase would be 44,000, but I'm saying make it 45 just to be safe.
And hopefully we come in under.
So what's his timeline of getting them done?
He didn't give me a timeline. It will not be this year.
But we're locked in on that price. He's not, next year, he's not gonna say, well, now you gotta pay the
That's
labor.
why he said to put a 10% increase to it. So that's why I'm putting it up to 45,000. That way that should cover any cost of material increases, that sort of stuff.
But labor will still be free.
Labor will still be free. Their equipment use will still be free.
Okay.
And we're on the list already unless we
And
don't
he
do
is-
this and then we'll be taken off.
He is, and then also, just for clarification, the first north wind pipe, which is the 120-foot long one that comes at an angle closer to, closer to,
Lay high.
no,
No.
129.
129, that's what I meant.
Closer to 129. That is a locked-in, done deal. That one's on the books. That's one of the first ones they're gonna do next year. Not this year, not in 2021, 2022. One of the first pipes that they're gonna do coming out of the gate. We've already approved that. That money's there. That one's done deal. We don't have to worry about that one. These four here, he's got them on his schedule to be done sometime next year. He didn't say when, he just said sometime. He's got them in his schedule unless we don't pass a resolution for them to do the design work and agree on this price. But he has put them in, so we are still at the,
Okay.
what he calls the top of the list, because anybody else jumping in wanting, he's not gonna have time to do them because they have to do their own stuff.
But if we don't approve it, then it opens it up for other people to
Correct.
jump in there.
So the money for the 50,000 for the other culverts is coming out of this money that we already got done. This will be coming out of next year's.
Correct. Hope they got all that because
Your mic wasn't on.
It's not on the card, I'm sure.
my wife says I talk really loud, so I would think.
You
you'd
do,
be
and
able
I
to hear
can't
me.
tell if it's coming through the speaker or not, so if it's not coming through the speaker, y'all gotta tell us, cause we don't know, we can't hear it. Okay, that's the one thing,
Tell my
I
wife
guess,
I'm not as loud as what she thought.
if you can't hear it, we need to know, cause I can't hear it from up here, cause the speakers are back there.
So any case, for the minute taker, I just need a resolution for $45,000. All the other stuff is just mumble jumble, so.
No.
Yeah, mumbo jumbo.
Alright, so my question,
Lenora?
Tina, not to put you on the spot, your thoughts on money?
Well, you guys said this is gonna come out of next year's budget, not this year's budget, correct?
Yes?
Is there any of this money could possibly come out of the ODOT grant money?
Well, you could, but.
We
I-
got that
I don't
earmarked,
want- I don't wanna waste my time on the biggest project, $20,000,
but
and not get it. I'd rather go for the big project.
Yeah, they probably would do these four culverts as individual requests, not
They
a
would.
group deal.
right,
Correct.
okay.
And it's clearly states that in that
Rob,
package.
you're not talking into the mic.
It clearly states in that package you just gave me that each individual culvert is an individual, that you cannot lump them together.
Right.
Each one is a.
So it wouldn't be 45,000, it would be the
Correct.
7,000 to 40, yeah. Okay.
Correct. Now, if it was one pipe that was 45,000, I'd say, yeah, let's go for it.
Okay.
But this is four different pipes, four different projects.
All right, so we're good for next year?
As long as you guys approve it.
I'm looking at the fiscal
As
officer.
long as you guys approve it.
I can't promise how much money you'll have next year, but if this is what you wanna spend the money on, you know.
I don't think we're gonna get it done any cheaper.
Connie, input from going out and still knowing the numbers?
I don't know the numbers, like I used to, but you can approve that you're going to do those culverts, but you can't approve a purchase order for next year.
Right.
We can earmark the money.
Yeah, you can, approve that you want to have that in the appropriations for the 2022 budget, but you cannot do a PO this early.
Yeah, you can't PO.
And basically, all we're doing for the engineer's office is passing that, yes, we're gonna do it.
Right.
And yes, you're gonna pay for it. That's what the resolution's for. But she's right, you can't do a PO, but they haven't generated a bill yet because they haven't done the jobs.
Correct.
But you pass a resolution, you say that you're gonna pay $45,000 to do these culverts.
We'll pay a maximum of 45,000.
Correct, a maximum.
Correct.
That's the reason why they won't, if you don't pass a resolution stating you're gonna do that, they're not gonna do anything. They're gonna take it all off the books and nothing will happen. So,
Again, I don't think we're gonna get it done that cheap.
and 45,000, based on, you know, the 50,000 that you're doing this year, I mean, I don't know the numbers, I don't get into the numbers, but I think you're gonna be just fine.
I think we're gonna be all right, but I think we're gonna have to watch what else we spend on.
We're not gonna spend it on the truck for a while.
You know what? Right there's the money to do that. I mean, seriously,
And
it's
that-
gonna be another year out.
Yeah.
And that actually is still debatable with a legal opinion on the American Rescue Plan.
Yeah.
So,
I'm good with it.
all right, so I'll make a resolution for the county engineer to do 4 culverts, George Road, number 1-638 for 7,500. George Road 1.242 for 6,000. North Wind Road 1.434 for 19,000. Chapel Road 0.446 culvert for 7,500. And we're gonna go the 5 to 10%, raising that up to 45,000.
Yeah,
Correct.
not to exceed
Not
45,000.
to exceed 45,000.
Second?
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Motion approves.
Do you want a copy of this, Carol?
Yes, please.
Hand her that copy of mine.
You guys brought up a good point. If Rob's truck is not going to be arriving this year, there's already a PO out there for that truck. And that will need to be, should be taken off the books, especially if it's not going to be here till 2023. She should not be carrying over that kind of
much
PO
money.
into next year.
So what is the proper way to get rid of that
You'll have
PO?
to-
Because
Void that PO.
Just
You get-
rescind it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll have to resend it.
Yeah, we'll have to look up the numbers and
Look up
everything,
the
and you
number
can
get
do
that
it
for next
the
meeting.
next
Yes.
meeting.
at the
Yeah.
next meeting,
Yep,
but
yep.
Okay.
I
'Cause
I
that
didn't
was,
even think about that when Chief was talking about it not getting here
ask you all
until
about that.
2023.
Because that's workers' comp money.
That was the workers'
That's
comp money,
workers'
and we
comp
can
money.
keep it earmarked in that line item for that, but we just need to make sure that there's not a PO out there.
But now with that being said, do you really want to take that away before the end of the year? Just in case it does come in 2021?
Do you got that much hope, or?
I've got that loving feeling, so.
We can wait till the very last meeting.
we can do it in December, and
December,
we'll know
yeah.
yes or no.
It can wait till then. It just,
That's all I'm saying is, don't create a headache for you that you don't need. I mean, because we do that all the time with POs. The very last week, she sets down, we go through, okay, I've got $3,500 left in gravel. What do? Take it off. I
right.
got this here, take it off. I mean, we do that every year. All I'm saying is do the same thing.
We can
Just-
wait till then.
Okay.
I'm good with that. We'll
So
just
wait
do it
till
all
the
at one
last
time.
meeting of the year?
Yeah. I'm good with that.
That way it doesn't create any confusion, and if by chance it would, we're still good to go, so. Even though most likely it's not going to
Wishful
happen. but-
thinking, but yes.
Yeah.
Okay, Rob, back to you.
If they take one out of the junk pile for you, you want the money there to buy it.
What else you got, Rob?
Just that I am working with the engineer's office on getting all the info together for that, the state grant that we can go through, it's through ODOT. To try, and I'm going to try to do Morgan Ross Road from Lehigh Road to the Ross Township maintenance line. which is almost 2 miles.
Okay.
Not quite, but pretty close to it. We are finishing up Blacktop Repair for this year. We've got a couple spots that we're doing up on Northwind Road. And after that, we're gonna be using the Durapatcher to do anything that might need to be done, because we can do it with just 2 people, where the blacktop would need at least 3, so gonna try to get that. And then we did do a tree removal with Butler Rural Electric. There was a dead tree at the intersection of Raceland and Howard Road, which I had spoke about a couple meetings ago. We did that last Thursday with Butler Rural Electric. Got it all taken down. The lady was all happy and stuff that the tree's gone. And it actually was a big asset to us, because the stop sign that was right underneath of it was always very low. We're now gonna be able to raise that stop sign up a little bit and move it back away from the road, so it'll be better seen. And I don't have trees that I have to worry about when I'm plowing snow to make sure my bed's down for and stuff, so.
Don't take your mirror off.
Right, exactly. And that's all that I have, unless somebody else has anything for me.
Thank you, sir. Yes, Darrell?
I just wanted to say, Rob, did you know there's a sign, a curb sign down on the, at the end of Lay High, and that short curve that goes in the jet, splits off Northwind? There's just somebody ran over it. I don't know if you knew they ran over it.
One more thing.
You know, at the bottom of the hill, when you go down to the bottom of the hill of, towards my house, and it splits off to go to Northwind.
On Lehigh.
That house there on your left, that one of the guys in the dip down here, one of those angle signs there, somebody ran over it.
Okay.
You also need to do some paint removal on a sign on Race Lane. The boys are painting gestures again, right there by Larry Hasselbrock.
They just started that then, okay.
Yep, they've put the gestures back on the signs. Try to clean them.
We can try to clean them, it depends on how much they sprayed on it. We can try to clean it, but it depends on how much they sprayed on it. If it's sprayed too much, we just gotta replace the sign. It's about $37 to replace that sign and whatever our labor is to, but I'll try to clean it if I can, but most of the time when they spray on it, they ruin the sign, because they're those high reflective, they got a prismatic thing that, and the way it is when the light hits it, it's supposed to send back 3 beams of light back at you to make it show up better. So, and when you go and take that cleaner to wipe it off, it kills that 3D effect.
The good part, it's on the small, the linear part below the sign.
Well, that shouldn't be that big a deal,
So, all right. Anything else? Rob?
No.
All right. Mr. Marshall?
All right, well, look at the violations. A has already been discussed, pretty much. 1578 is the same type of violation that have been reopening on, and have sent a letter out, okay? That takes care of the violations. You have the rest of them on the chart, as you see, that I'm still working with, and will be working with Mr. Ted on redoing the spreadsheet a little bit, making it a little bit more easier to read, so that we can get it done. Number 2, the certificates. 8 new certificates were issued since the last meeting. 2 new constructions of homes, 2 new fences, 2 pools, one in ground and one above, 2 accessory structures, 1 pole barn, and a roof solar array. All right, so solar arrays have become, rooftop solar arrays have become very prominent. They're starting to get a lot of those. There's about 3 or 4 companies that are doing them here in the township. So, and everything else, if it's rooftop, I don't have to worry too much about it. I am now requiring a certificate though, and everything, because just need it for Butler County as well. Butler County's kind of asked for it. The Zoning Commission, our next meeting is October the 6th, 2021 at 7 p.m. here in the Administration Building. for all those listening out and who want to attend from the public. It is open to the public. It is always open to the public. We're going to be working on some definitions that we were doing. They deal with manufactured homes and some issues that I've seen arise by watching and looking at various things that have happened. And in so doing, I've also reviewed, asked for a review and checked on the Lehigh Estates mobile home park just to make sure that we were connecting into the right places and that they are still being inspected by the state Commerce Department, who oversees that in their division of maintenance. We're reviewing Articles 11 and 11B, which concern the manufacturing homes, or we will be. And I put out an advertisement for an alternate commissioner. I forgot to put them, but I do have 2 applications. I will put them in a PDF file and send those to you so that we can then discuss and talk about. The deadline for the closure on this is next week. Okay, I think it's the 10th. Well, it's somewhere next week. Okay, so we'll close on that, and I haven't received any more. There's no Board of Zoning Appeals at this time. There's no hearing applications have been received for the entire year. Then under the Land Use Planning Committee, it meets this Thursday, well, not this Thursday, but it meets Thursday, October the 21st, 2021 at 7 p.m. here in the admin building. The topic for this meeting is to be determined. We usually don't determine that until about a week to a week and a half before, but we do have a set of topics that we are going through. We finished with the definition of rural character, which I will send you in an email just to let you guys know and everything, and I'll send it to the zoning department. The zoning department will see it next Wednesday. Andy Meyer and I have met with each of the GIS teams from Miami the week of 9/13. Each team is now collecting data, and they're working on the GIS app, which is being developed as part of the planning that I've told you about. Okay, it is my hope and my wish that perhaps that we will be able to sit and put the app up on the internet. And speaking of that, I will speak to that in a moment. And so that if someone, a realtor or a developer, wanted to know what's this and what's that here in Morgan Township, that they would be able to go to this app and through GIS processes that they would do, be able to put the layers on that they want for the parcels and stuff. Speaking about the internet, I received Tom, I received a email from Chris updating me on that. He's ran into a situation where he has tried to move things over from the current platform to the new platform, and he's saying it's very, very difficult. He's been working with Google on them, and he wanted my thoughts on what to do and where to go. My thought, he said that we could, try to redo it and face it the way it currently is with, but it would just take a little longer. Or we just start over with a whole new format and do it the way we really would like to see it. So I'll have more on this for the first October meeting. Okay, all right. That's not on my list here. But the Land Use Planning Committee is really on track. We're still tracking really well. And by November, we hope to have a presentation by November from the GIS class on the whole thing, okay? Because they have a deadline of being able to present to us at that point in time, and it'll probably be here at a trustees meeting, okay? Because if I have you guys all there, all 3 of you showed up, it's a trustees meeting, it's not a land use meeting, okay? And that's just regulations around that for some reason. I don't know.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, the last time we had to have, was it 2 public meetings once you get this closer?
Yes, those will come, but any of our meetings are open to the public. but they
I
can't.
meant like a-
Yeah, I know. We're gonna have an open house.
Like an
We'll
open
have
house,
open
yes.
house, and then there will be a public presentation of it in a meeting, and then the open house, et cetera, et cetera. Those are all things that are still in the planning stages.
Gotcha.
And just for anyone's information, if everybody was worried about how development's going here in the township and everything else, and how much zoning actually looks at it and cares about it, Mr. Brian Price was in my office past week, to discuss his plans for the 100 acres or so acres he purchased from David Lear. That's just, all right, we have Hesselbrock's right next to us, where the property starts on this side of the road of Chapel and runs all the way down to where the old animal shelter is. Mr. Price bought all of that. He is not going to do any kind of subdividing or anything else for this present property. He wants the property, and I stress this, he wants the property for his own personal agricultural uses. He will be building a very large barn. He wants to have horses and cattle to roam. He's going to be putting up a very nice fence along the front off of the property and everything. It's going to be a farm fence with rails going, wooden rails and everything else. He came in, asked me what can he do or what can he do, how much of this is agriculture, doesn't need me to be involved and everything else. Since he's building the barn, it is, he's going to use it for agricultural purposes. No certificate is needed from me or from zoning. I did caution him to go over to Butler County and see what they needed in terms of building the building. Okay. He is going to build a house, his own private house. It's going to be up closer this way, and it's going to be a good distance off the road, but at the same time private and everything else. But that comes later. And then, of course, I told him at that time he would need a certificate from zoning. All right. And I have no other issues for executive session again
Okay.
than what we did. Any questions, any thoughts?
No, sir. All right.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Ms. Cox?
Okay, I need approval for a purchase order to Boundtree Medical LLC in the amount of $5,000 for EMS operating supplies.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Brucker? Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Yes.
Motion approved, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I'm just hurrying along.
The others
And then we need the executive session for to tell you about
Executive session at the end. All right.
the insurance
Oh, okay.
stuff.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
I'm just reminding you.
Okay. I saw the second thing, but we already completed that.
Yeah, I know.
Do you remember what we talked about today too?
Yes. Okay. Anything else, Tina, or that's it?
That's all I got.
All right, Mr. Grove.
I had a call for nominations coming through the Grassroots Clippings, which was the monthly publication of the Ohio Township Association. And it's called a Small Town America Civic Volunteer Award. And I'll give you a little description of what this is, and read a little bio on the award. It says, volunteers make your community more than a place to live. It says, making your community more than just a place to live requires the efforts and support of citizens in your community. In those efforts, many citizens come together to contribute and provide goods and services, or time to help your community remain collectively empowered. Eventually, these contributions become a way of life in the community. This year, we're excited to provide you with an opportunity to honor a public servant who leads the way in making your community more than a place to live. Nominate a volunteer in your community who goes above and beyond for a Small Town American Volunteer Award. So we have an opportunity to nominate 2 people in our township. The nominations are due by October 15th, 2021, and we will go ahead and submit any names that we have if anybody has suggestions on those type of of an individual that you know. You may have somebody in mind. I know we have a lot of people in the township that do a lot of volunteer work and help out on things, and they've done it for years. But the purpose of this is the state of Ohio is seeing less and less people standing up and being part of the community and volunteering to take a part of the way things get run in the townships. So this is, if they attempt to recognize those that have done these kind of things, it's an encouragement to others who see that and hopefully stand up and step forward. So we'll have a couple names. We by the next township board meeting, we'll go ahead and nominate whoever comes forward as a candidate, and then submit those names. So just keep that in mind. And that's all I have.
So what's the area that is it for just the state of Ohio? And then does that person that gets nominated,
Yeah.
does that go to regional?
Well, here's
Or national,
a
or-
little bit more about it. It says nominations for either an individual or volunteer organization may be submitted by a local government official or employee of a town, township, city, or county with a population of fewer than 25,000 people. The program will recognize and honor the nation's top 100 public service and public safety volunteers. Here's another piece of it that might be interested for everybody. Civic Plus, which is the organization that's running this, will provide a cash award of $20,000 to National STACVA, which is Small Town American Civic Volunteer Awards. The winners for $10,000, cash award of $20,000 to the national winner, $10,000 to the first runner-up, and $5,000 to the second runner-up. In addition, each of the local governments represented by the top 100 honorees may qualify for a volunteer management module with 12 months of complimentary service. So actually, this is a national. We're competing in Ohio, but it's a national effort to find these people.
Well, let me ask you this, because I downloaded what you got, and it says here too, I kind of get that it's more of a civic government type volunteer stuff. Because it reads here, today, however, small town America is facing significant decline in the availability of civic volunteers to serve as local government board, committee members, firefighters, EMT personnel, library, parks, recreational teams, and more. This merging crisis threatens the very fabric. So are they trying to look for the ones that volunteer in the government type? See, that's what I'm getting out of it. I'm not 100%.
Board members?
Yeah, that's
like
what
our
I'm
board
saying.
members on the zoning,
Right,
like
or the BZA.
volunteer firemen, like people that do like EMA boards,
Raise your
the
hand, Rob.
different type of.
Well,
Is-
I said
on the volunteer side, that you're qualified if it's any volunteering that you do for no pay. So a lot of these roles are for pay, but you can also have a firefighter that steps up and volunteers for no pay. So if that individual has a history of supporting the community for volunteer firemen, or does anything that's other in that realm related to that, that's who you would be recommending. So I think it's an effort to highlight those people to step into these roles that you just mentioned, to fill these civic boards and these posts that actually some of these do offer a salary to work in the community. So it's on the website. It'll be in the notes if anybody, when we post the minutes, we'll have the website in the minutes. So if you want to investigate it and take a look at it.
And then
that'd be
they
a good
have to be
opportunity.
approved by the chief elected appointed official of the local governments they represent.
Yeah, so I would think that if we would nominate one, then you
would
as
be-
the president of the board would be a second endorser.
It'll be us doing it together, but yeah.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah,
somebody would nominate the person, and then you would be the final.
you see, it says it's a Small Town America Civic Volunteer Award. I almost think they gotta be on doing civic volunteers to, I don't know if we can call and ask, but that's kinda the way I'm reading it. I mean, I'm not saying nothing's wrong, but that's, I would think they would have to be doing, and then there's an application they fill out. I read some, because they ask their name, their position or title, the name of the municipality or the county that you represent, their title, position. In what capacity does your nominee or nominee serve your local government? Approximately how many years did the individual organization been serving your local government? So that's why I say, I think they're doing that. They want civic volunteers for criteria, it looks like, to meet this particular one. The way
Well,
I'm reading it.
like you said, it
What is your
leans
municipal
toward
or
the-
county's estimated
the
population?
zoning commission or the board of appeals or volunteer fire department people who are still volunteers, although I don't think we have, well, I mean, we have those, but, and everything else too.
We still have one.
Two.
Two.
I mean, they're related to the fact that it's civic, in other words,
So I would think like, what's the volunteers for the EMA? I cannot think of the name of them. The groups, huh?
The executive board?
We got the executive board, then you've got the ones that come and then they.
The
we do
nomination
the-
committee?
Huh?
The nomination committee?
Keep going down, keep doing, you did it, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, the CERT
CERT
team.
The CERT team, I could not think of the name.
CERT team.
Things like that,
That's-
ones that
that-
go for deployment, ones that do volunteer
yeah,
for,
those kinds of
The
things,
CERT
yeah.
team, yeah.
The CERT team.
that's what I'm getting, you've got to be to nominate, because it's all, what are you doing for your local government, that's the question.
Well, here's the final paragraph. It says nominators are asked to describe their candidates' compelling story of local volunteerism and its positive impact on their community.
Correct.
How does that define?
I don't know,
Gets
I'll let you guys
nominated.
read it, see if you're coming up with the same thing I'm coming up with. It almost like they gotta be volunteering on the civic, because the volunteers for that are going way down.
Yeah, because that's evident in the fact that how hard it is to get someone to volunteer to be on either of the two zoning boards.
I'll click on there, the most frequently asked questions tomorrow, and I didn't see that till now. Did you see that? I want to go back to that website, frequently
Yeah,
asked questions,
I
I did
did
not.
see that. I don't have a copy of it, though.
But I'm up for names and all
Yeah,
that, if we want to
okay.
try to do it by the next meeting.
Okay.
Thoughts on that?
That's good, yeah.
Anything else?
Nope.
All right, Mr. Brucker.
Just wanted to throw out there to the board, get any input from, like Dale's a user, and I know fire department uses it now, probably not as much since they've got their own training facility, but when we put this AV system in, we kind of went with what we could get
That was free.
that was free. So we got a software program that when Dale presents a PowerPoint presentation, Brett has to go back and make a change of the display, but it's called QuickBooks. And
A click.
B-O-K.
K.
Yeah, but it's
K-L-I-K.
B-O-K-S.
B-O-K-S.
Click.
Books, yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, it is not supported anymore because they've come out with newer versions that they want to charge for. So we've been having more and more issues, just getting people to bring a laptop in and just get the software downloaded or uploaded onto their
To even
computer,
connect.
just so they can connect. And then when they do connect, we had an issue last Saturday at the Historical Society meeting the presenter, I set up the computer. It took Jeff Griffith and I, multiple tries, and then Dale came in and we tried to get it on John Stowe's, the computer that the Historical Society gave him. But we were able to get it on successfully. So then Saturday, the presenter came, he had his own computer. We tried to put it on, it was on. It just said it could not recognize the device. So we went to plan B. Luckily, he had his presentation on a flash stick. We put it in John Stowe's. It worked. Bingo. Well, as soon as Jeff and I left, John Stowe said about every so often it just locked up. He had to reboot and start it back up. And so anyway, I don't know why. I don't know why it was doing it,
Yeah.
but it was doing it. So luckily they got through it. But I don't know what's the answer, if we want to go with a paid version of this, but I know the fire department's got this is probably a Kia and they got the Cadillac. I don't know that we need to go to the Cadillac, but we are using it more and more, and we could probably, if we can get something that may be user-friendly for downloading, but also if we could, so we could have like a split screen. So if we show a PowerPoint, we see the PowerPoint and we still see the cameras in the room. That would be the ultimate.
That would be ultimately
But I don't know
nice.
that if it's out there. But I just want to be able to put it to the board to say, can we, have Chris or somebody look into what's available, what our options are, because I think this thing's dying and is dying quickly. And
Well, yeah, you're going to see an example of it here tonight, so,
Okay.
for Brad.
I like, what you guys got in the fire department, and I think we're using it more and more. At first, the Historical Society didn't use it, kind of bucked it a little, but I think they're wanting to use it more and more. I know that the zoning is using it more and more.
the land.
We're
use.
trying to
use is
use it
using it
here
like crazy because-
more and more if we can get it to work better. So I think the use is going to be there. Even when they had the Fire Chiefs Association meeting
Yeah, we
here,
had issues.
couldn't get it to work. So it's going to
finally
be
did,
used
but it
more
was-
and more, I think. And I don't know if this is something that can be paid for out of
That's
the,
what I'm gonna mention, because we have a CPR class in here December 7th, because
The
our
Americans-
room only holds 8 to 10 people max in there, and that was always designed for training of our people. And we hold CPR, first aid classes, the fire chiefs meeting, things like that, we have to hold over here to hold additional folks. So it is a potential that, because that's training, and that is definitely in the language for the American Rescue Plan, that could fund that.
The reason I wanted to look into a split screen is we've got all these papers up here. I mean, there's probably a couple hundred trees over a year that get killed with the copies. And if we could put it all electronically up there, and then you guys in the audience or whoever's watching the live stream, they can see the agenda, so you know what we're dealing with, what the next topic is, and anything that we're seeing here, we could potentially
and still see here.
put it up here,
if you're
but
in the
you can
audience.
still see us. Not that people want to see us, but there are some times our facial gestures kind of give away what we're thinking. And it's probably important because, let's face it, we've gone 180 degrees as far as where we were maybe even 4 years ago. As far as we would just get the minutes, and the minutes are like a Cliff Notes version of what actually happened in the meeting. I mean, it's just an overview. Nothing against whoever's taking the notes. You can only got so much room, or the thing's going to be a book. So we've only got so much data there. But you go back and you watch it, and it's like, wow, now I remember, the notes just don't tell you everything. So I think by making our meetings, available, live streaming them now, so people now can watch them from home and don't have to come in, I think we've really done a lot, and I think this is like the next step, to be able to get away from all the papers and just go, if we can do it electronically. If we can do a split screen. So.
I
is it
say
okay
look
to
into it. You?
Look into it?
I think we probably need to go down that trail and address the microphones as
That's
well.
next.
I got 'em.
All right,
We got quotes on that.
good deal.
Anything else from you?
No, I just want to thank Rob.
For bringing up about needing microphones.
No, I got a call, what was that, what day was that last week? The tree down at George Road in Shraden from a person that they were driving, going to the Country Barrel, and they said that they pulled it over, but they didn't get really off the road that well, but they, just, you know, it was definitely blocking the road. I called Rob, and he said, we're on our way, we already know about it, so, I don't know how he knew about it, but.
There's 4 different ones Chris found.
No, but anyway,
I'll let you look at them
so
already
the
done.
person, you know, was very thankful that we have such a reactive fire, or road department.
School bus driver, that two-way radio called in her office and said, there's a tree down here, call Morgan Township Road Department. So Tina Sefton with Ross Township Transportation called me and says, you got a tree down George Road in Shraden. And then I was literally on my way there when you called and said you had it there, so that's how I knew about it so fast.
Okay, that's it.
All right, one of the other things is had Chris look into headset microphones. And my thought is maybe there's 4 different ones he come up with here. There's a real cheap model, couple cheap models, and then there's one that's like $200, $325, $99, and $149. I pulled all 4 of them up. Of course, the one for $325 is a headset right there with the ear and the mic. I pulled up the 30 reviews on it. There was nothing less than a 4. They had 5 stars all the way across. No bad comments on all the 30 reviews. I went to the $200 model. They got 4 stars, and there was, you know, some above and a bunch down below. And if I remember right, there was 18 or 20, it was 19 reviews on that one. And it's only 4 stars. And then I looked at the other 2 real cheap models. One, you got to go across both ears, which just looks really uncomfortable. And if you get cheap, you're going to get cheap results. We've learned that there. My thought is maybe we try 2 or 3 of these, see how they work, because they will attach right to these. In fact, only one of them's wireless. That's the one that's $325, got all the good things. So basically we could set that there, you're wearing the microphone, you go. Maybe we try 3 to start with. My thought was, and I'm not picking on anyone, it seems like Dale, Tom, and I believe sometimes yours or even his are the hardest ones to hear and see with the mics. Maybe we try the 3. Don't buy all of them for everything. Try them, see how this works. If this works better, maybe we invest a couple more and still keep some of these others. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are.
If we buy 3, you want to buy maybe 1 of the 325 and 2 of the 200 and just see if if it's worth it. The difference is $125.
Well, then I would only do 1 and 1, but because I don't know. Did you look at the 300? There's.
I've looked at them.
You seen them there?
Yeah.
I just looked at the marks, and I mean they were all 4 or 5s, and they were all really good comments. I don't know. Usually the reviews tell you a lot. A lot of times they tell you there's, you know, if there's bad ones, you always got some, and there were some bad ones in the $200 model. Your thoughts? Or you want to try 1 of each and see how that goes and go from there?
Does Chris
Do you
know
really
anybody?
want to buy a $49 one?
Do what now?
You don't want to buy a $49 one?
No, we've
Okay.
kind of eliminated those.
All right.
The 2
Two.
bottom ones, I wouldn't even recommend going.
Does Chris know anybody that's got personal experience with any of this kind of stuff?
Don't know. I don't.
I think that the biggest thing is it would be contacting like a theater group who do use the microphones like that. Would be the only other experience I would think of that you would have.
Well, part of it is these here all work with our system, so that's
yeah, right.
one thing you got to look for too. Or if you just want to try 1, see if it works. Connie, what do you got?
Chief, is there any way this could be stretched to use the American Rescue Plan funds?
You got to my kick, but I ain't got there yet.
I don't know about
If you're using
that
it for
one.
training,
Maybe. We can ask. We'll ask. All I can say is thank you, Carol, because I'm always the loudest. You say you always hear me, so thank
but
you.
it doesn't always record, because I've been told the same thing. I'm loud even when the mic was off. You guys didn't even realize my batteries went dead. Just a thought on that. The other thing I already took care of, Scott Brutzler, we already done. Dale, you want to put that up real quick? I'll show these pictures real quick. All right, so I've gotten actually a couple comments from different people about this. This is end of Chapel Road, 129. That is the grate right there. It's kind of starting to fall in and going in. So I got a hold of Shane with ODOT. Supposed to get back with me. I haven't heard back from him. He wants to go ahead and show the other couple pictures. He also complained where they kind of rutted up the road right there from where they were doing the paving, because if you notice in the next picture, the fire hydrant's got the blue connection there. They were filling their trucks up with water, and that's that grate there. So I got with Shane about the ruts. I got with Shane about that right there, and I know for a fact I've hit that thing with my truck, because if there's a car parked there, it's so narrow of a turn. With that there, I've ran over that multiple times. And I know somebody else shaking their head back there, because if you've got a truck that's of any size, you're going to run over it. If there's a car parked there, if there's a trailer, I either wait till they move or somebody gets out of the way, because I'll never make it. So that's the only thing I got on them pictures. I switch that back. The only other thing I had is, Mr. Griffith, have you ever had a chance to talk with Chris about learning to try to start putting our zoning meetings on? About doing that? Have you had a chance to go there yet?
I was waiting for authorization to do that. I've never had board approval to start that.
Okay, so you want a motion?
I think we need one, don't we?
You guys all right with having Griffith contact Chris and learn how to take the discs that we have from zoning and start putting them on the YouTubes? And then eventually I'd like to see Dale start doing those meetings as well live, so everything's on there. Anybody can see anything they want that we do.
The reason, what we did with the old
Or are you waiting
Trustee
till the
meeting.
website's done?
No, we don't have to. It can all be converted over because it's on YouTube. But if you had an hour and 20-minute meeting, it took an hour and 20 minutes to upload it. So that's the time consuming. That's why we kind of didn't want to use Chris. If we can do it while he's on shift or something in his spare time, like he's got a lot. But
Is that going to take the ones we have that have not gone?
anything you've got on,
Right, which I have on a terabyte drive
Right.
separate, that I can just hand to Jeff anytime he's ready to do it.
That's kind of what I was hoping to do, and we start downloading
Okay.
and then eventually start
Yeah.
live streaming your meetings
but
as
it's
well.
minute by, it's a minute to minute
Oh, yeah, I know,
transfer.
because
It's
it
not,
takes,
you can't just like,
Even-
if
even
you're an hour, minute,
transferring
and it's
them off
5 minutes
the-
to upload, it's
right,
very
even
time
transferring them off of the SD card is a fairly lengthy time
Yeah.
too, and everything, and so, yeah. Oh, yeah, because I have 2019, 20, and 21, all the zoning are on that, and the BZAs that have happened in there in between, and now the land use,
Yeah.
so.
And I think the more we get out there, the better the public likes it. Because they can come see what they want whenever they want. They don't have to buy a tape and have us record. They can just go look at anything and everything. It's totally out in the open. As long as you guys are all right, he can go ahead and start doing that, and in his spare time, he can click that on one of the other computers, and then he can still do his other work on the other one, right?
Yeah. I don't really need a motion, just the board.
As long as everybody approves, I think
As
we're
long as you're
good.
okay with it.
Yep.
Chief's okay with it.
All right. The only other thing we got is executive, is that correct? Did you want anything done with this record retention, or is that for later discussion?
That's for later. I gave it to you guys so
To
that you
review.
can look over them and be familiar.
Okay, and your executive is for what reason?
The
Personnel for
insurance
benefits.
Personnel fund for
Do
the,
you know which one number that is? Do you remember? For benefits?
Yeah, it's the personnel, it's basically the same one you read before.
Oh, there's my copies.
oh, you threw your pen on the floor.
All right, so I will make a motion at 9:51 to go to executive session pertaining to personnel matters when particularly named in the motion, to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or an official.
Second.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Turn my mic off.
Wow.
You got your marathon last meeting there, Cheryl.
It was a
It's a one-time, you buy the part, and you plug it in the same place as your switching thing in the back. When you go back there to put his computer on? Well, let's finish this out real quick, and then we'll go. Okay, go ahead. We're on. Oh, okay. All right, I'll make a motion at 10:23 to come out of executive session.
Second.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Motion approved.
All right, you want to do those two motions real quick? We'll get out of here, and then
All right,
I'll
let me
discuss how to
get-
fix that.
Let me get this here, packet. All right. All right, I'll make a motion that in order to follow the guidance from the state auditor as far as how we withhold and pay health insurance, we will now be paying we'll be withholding the premiums from the employees' paychecks the month before, and that will be paying the next month. So the issue is we're going to have to catch up, because right now the premium is being deducted every pay period, and it's paying for that month. So they have to catch up. So the township will pay, instead of hitting all employees with 2 monthly premiums in 1 month, the township will pay 100% of the October premium, which is $1,558.86. And then the employees withholding for October will pay the November premium. So they'll be caught up, There will be no impact on the employees. The employees are basically getting a bonus. So what we'll have to do is change our policy now. For new employees, will be eligible for health insurance coverage on the first day of the month after 30 days of full employment. So they have to make their election for coverage at the time of hire. And they'll be deducted even though their health insurance coverage starts the next month. They will be, from date of hire, they will start, if they elect to choose coverage, their premiums will come out on their first or their 2 pay periods in the first month of hire. Their insurance will become eligible the next month. So that way they're on the same rotation as everybody. We're deducting and for the month before. And then we will be issuing 2 checks basically to our insurance carriers. One for the 75% that Morgan Township pays, and one for the 25% that's being withheld from the employees. That will alleviate our issue of overstating our, as the auditor found, overstating our income and our expenses.
I think this came
You're
out.
on.
Okay.
You're on.
Okay. Just to make this clear,
You were on.
okay? If we get a new township trustee, their health insurance premium will not start January 1. It will not start till February 1.
Okay.
Okay, just, I want to make sure that that's perfectly clear, you know. We hope we don't have to deal with that, but
Okay.
I just want to make sure that that's perfectly clear. This is any new employee, whether it's an elected official or someone that's hired.
Anybody that elects to get the
Yes.
insurance coverage. Okay. So that's my motion. I know it was long-winded, but I think I covered it all.
Well, let me ask you, don't we have to have those separate? The policy under one and then the payment thing under one instead of all one together? I would think you need that separate.
Probably.
So, do it this way. Make a
We
motion that the town,
We explained it, so now we can just say that
read number 2 is your one motion.
the
And then
township
read
will
the
pay.
bottom one's your second.
Yeah, the township will pay 100% of the October premium, which is $1,558.86. Did I get a second?
Second.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Motion approved.
My next motion is all new employees will be eligible for health insurance, or that will be eligible for health insurance coverage on the first day after 30 full days of employment. Election coverage must be made at the time of hire.
Second.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Okay.
All right, anything else?
No,
5 days for deposit.
The ORC requires that public monies received must be deposited on the next business day if monies received exceed $1,000. If less than $1,000, monies are to be deposited within 3 business days at the latest. Anyone who receives township monies must deliver said monies to the fiscal officer by the next business day so she can meet these requirements. The board has the option to pass a resolution, which I'm making, to extend this time frame to 5 business days after receipt of monies for both over and under $1,000.
Second.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Now, this isn't a motion, but I will be changing the rental agreements for the community center to remove my address, take me out of receiving any monies, and put the 3141 Chapel Road that will come to Connie directly and, or Tina, I'm sorry. I looked at you and said Connie.
Make sure you put box 1.
Box 1, yes. That will go to Tina, and then she can meet the 5 days.
And I will make sure you have a copy of
Okay.
everything, okay?
All right.
All right, one last quick question. Do we want to do anything with these mics, or you want to wait?
I'd say get one of each.
Well, you know, the only thing that we need is to get it close to our mouth. So I don't think we really would need to spend the top price. You know,
What about
I think
the
they all
mics
were-
that hang from the ceiling? 'Cause we got mics for our choir at church that hang from the ceiling and they pick up everybody.
and they're hardwired into the, that's what I was thinking
All
about.
right,
is-
here's my only question with this, and think about this. If we got a mic here and it's picking up, and one person's saying something, and then you got 3 people talking, who's it gonna pick up? Where if it's on the person that tends to get them. That's my only downfall to those.
You mean like picking up background noise?
We've got mics right there, those 2 little,
Yeah, that actually
But
picks
they
the
don't
audience.
pick up very much on the recording.
because they're down, because we don't want to pick up the audience.
Oh.
We want the audience to come up to the podium.
Sure.
I mean, it does pick up. Yeah.
What if you had 4 of them, like 2 there and 1 here and 1 over there, where these pick up more?
I think talking into the mic's much better, because then you're going to get it. Here I hate to say it, you have Tom that has a soft voice,
Well, if
and
you're
every
gonna
once in a while he was
spend the
here, you
money,
can't
get
hear.
one of them earpieces that you get the thing in your ear and it's right here and.
It just kind of hooks here.
It wraps around your ear, and then it's got a little piece
Right,
here.
And that way it's all right there at your mouth.
That's-
You don't have to worry about, well,
This is-
pick up the mic and put it here. So,
This is what I'm talking
And you're
about.
not on.
yeah.
That's what
That's
we're
exactly what I'm
talking about.
talking about.
Preacher
we put-
robbed then if I had
And these
that,
are
so
wireless.
We'll put one of them
preach
on
the
you.
gospel if I had
That's the
that.
only good thing about the $325. It's wireless. You don't have
It
to
is
deal with.
wireless, and the reviews
'Cause
are so much
don't
better. And
put
I'm
this
like,
on me, and then I walk away, and this thing falls on the floor all the
I've
time.
had
You know,
catch
we can
this
lay
one
this here,
before.
you have the mic on, and you're done. Because that's the only other thing with this, it falls off our clip, it falls down, we've dropped them.
Well, let's try one then.
Let's try one and see what it does. You guys good with that?
Yes.
So it's $325 at Chris's cost, correct?
You all got a credit card, don't you? Order one.
Because it's $354
I'm not
if I
doing it.
order it.
I'm not doing it. I just don't do anything with Chris.
Oh, Brett, order one with your
what'd I
credit
do
card.
with-
Do whatever.
$2,600 if you buy one for everybody that sits up here.
I'm fine with this.
Our biggest problem is you, Tom, Dale.
Well, then, me, Tom, and Dale. buy it.
Sometimes Jeff calls
And
you,
sometimes
because
he-
if your mic's under your collar, it doesn't pick up.
I want
Like
to
it is
try
now.
one and let's see, and we can play with it. And you know what? Maybe this American Fund will pay for it and we get more.
Okay.
Well, you know, if we're going to test it, why go top? Why don't we start at the bottom end or the middle end? Because that was the priciest. That was the most expensive, right?
The only
Right.
good thing about that is it's wireless.
But if you read all the reviews, there ain't a bad one. You read these reviews, there's only 19 and over half of them are bad.
And that's, what was that 120?
And that's the next, that's the 225. That's the next one
There
down.
you go, right there.
And you're talking so much better.
Why don't you be
than
the
what
why don't you be the test group and you
Let's
get
try
this
one.
and you try it.
and
The problem with going cheaper is we went cheaper.
and then you
when we
end up
put the
paying for it.
system in to keep the price down,
What
and
I do?
it's never worked properly. You know, we've had issues from the very beginning.
Well, we started with rechargeable batteries, and they kept cutting out.
And we learned that that's a no-no.
And we contacted
is.
the manufacturer, and they said, don't use rechargeable batteries.
So we got the regular batteries that help, but then we're still having a few issues with the mics. And we kind of went cheaper there too, and we're paying for it. So are we good? Try the one expensive one?
That's fine.
You all right with that?
Yes.
All right, so I will make a motion to purchase the Countryman E6 Omnia ear set mic for $325 through Chris. I mean, he ain't got his name on here.
Oxford Computer Solutions.
Oxford Computer Solutions.
Is he going
I'm
to send us a
tired.
bill for it, or?
Second.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Brucker?
Abstain.
All right, anything else?
Nope.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
That was our second.
Okay, Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Motion approved.
We are closed.
All right, let me kill these mics.
What did we forget?
What am I gonna do about somebody said we'll discuss it in executive session.